This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace, and this actually means something. This means something to me, guys, because when I started this podcast and I was working in the above ground mine in Marulan, Squarespace is what I actually used to create the website. It was called the lockerroomnetwork.com.au to create the website, to put the podcast on, put some videos on. And so they are a sponsor of the podcast this week, and it's a full circle moment for you guys. And I'll tell you what, if me of all blokes, could do it 10 years ago with how much, that they've improved and how much easier it is, no coding needed, super easy. If I could do it 10 years ago, imagine who can do it today. Anyone can. So if you've got a business, if you're a tradie, a Sparky, a Chippy, whatever, if you've got a business, make sure to use Squarespace. It's super easy to build a website, keep track of invoices, keep track of clients, communicate with your clients, and it makes things so much easier in regards to a professional front. So when people do come to your website, they can see that you're the real deal, a good quality business. You can have reviews, you can have everything. It's all super easy. They've also got a brand new AI tool, which makes it even easier to create websites, guys. Different layouts. It's almost a click and drag. It's the best ever. So head to squarespace.com/bloke for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code BLOKE and you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a website domain. A massive thank you to Squarespace, guys. If you own a business and you need a website, use Squarespace. If I could do it 10 years ago, anyone can do it today, and it looks professional.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. And before we get started, what we're going to do is we're going to get through the segments relatively quickly, and we get straight into the game. So, we're going to get to the games much quicker than we usually do. And then, like the KO can't miss, the hungriest player, stuff like that, that'll be in a part of the games. But the great Rube, how you going, bro?
I'm going all right, mate. I had a bit of a mixed weekend. Good footy. I got stung by a wasp over the weekend.
Oh, no.
Yeah, debut.
Oh, no.
Handled it well, though.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, it's not my story you'll hear. I'll be fine. I would like to give a shout out to someone on the panel, though. I think Timmy Williams went through the bravest live stream I've ever seen the other night.
Yes, brave. Kill the stream.
Fucked up to watch.
Yeah, it was tough.
It was kill the stream territory. It's been a tough week or so for us, boys, but we've soldiered through. I've gone through just loss after loss after loss. I've turned up. Rue's come through a wasp sting, so it's finals time. We're getting up for it.
NRL physio, could we get a wasp? Like how long Rube might be out for, the recovery, maybe some of those graphics that show like the sore muscle. Can we get something?
Seen the wasp
Rube?
after.
Oh, really?
How painful was it, mate? Did it hurt?
Didn't notice it.
All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Also, shout out to Aussie Footy Shorts with pockets. Make sure to grab some from their website. Also got some bloke ones on there as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. Really does help, guys, on Spotify, on YouTube. All right, it's time to face the music. Brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. Actually got a couple up on the feed on the weekend. So listen, if you want the juice, give us a follow on the feed. They're calling me the market mover on the feed. I put something up, the market moves, baby. Okay, let's get into it. Alrighty, it was myself versus Matty, and then it was Guru versus Hammy. Timmy knocked out Lockie's team was last week.
Oh, gee.
What? What?
Just low blow after low blow.
I'm just saying, bro. Okay, me versus Matty. $0 for me in the first game. $2 for Matty in the first game, which is bizarre because I literally have on the feed, I bet Sharkies would win 13 plus. So I don't know what, I was so sure Sharkies was going to win. So I don't know why I went Raiders. Stupid punting.
Bright light swallowed you up, mate.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens for the rest of this, hey? Still got a couple of weeks, mate. You reckon you're going to get me next week? If you get through?
Don't give it away.
Oh, if you get through, mate.
I reckon I'll be there.
Okay, Panthers versus Doggies. I had Panthers minus 9.5. Matty, copycat from Ballarat, also have that. I swung for the fences. I went Liam Martin, $0. Bronson Sherry, 4. Matty. So Matty wins with $7.70. Look at $1.90. Fair, brave effort from me. Now onto the elimination final, because now I will play the winner of these two. Guru versus Hammy. Guru had Sharks plus 5.5, $1.90, and he had a Mulatalo double. Unlucky Roo.
Greedy Roo.
Unlucky, got a greedy there. Sharks, Hammy had Sharks plus 5.5, $1.90, and he had Mulatalo anytime, $2.
He essentially just copied me.
Went less,
outright. Just went a little bit less because
less brave. Yeah, less brave.
It'll show as the weekend goes on.
Panthers versus Doggies. Guru had Panthers 1-12, but he had Cleary anytime try scorer.
Oh.
Panthers minus 9.5, the Hammy had, which is $1.90. Into McLean, $0. The Guru wins $5.90. to 580.
Nice, man. Thanks for coming. No shock Hammy didn't show up.
No shock. And also, Hammy tried to rig the game to get into a grand final, like making stuff up as he goes. People getting eliminated, not getting eliminated. That's karma. That's the footy guys getting you.
Guru, can we get a little samurai bow from you?
So, in the following week, I will play Guru in the eliminated to play Matty in the grand final. So week 2 it was Matty 770, Guru 590, Hammy 580, Timmy 410, and myself $1.90. I'd love to know what overall is at the moment.
I think this week's enough.
Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah. Okay,
$1.90.
Okay. Listen, mate. Over the season, I got the job done, mate. I got the job done, at least compared to you. And you just played dirty towards the end. The golden points, it's a dirty tactic.
We're playing different games, mate. I'm defending a championship. You wouldn't know anything about it.
Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, now, coach story of the week. Oh, yeah, it's Tommy Turbo in the news. What do you got, mate? What do you got here?
Hey, boys, this is left field, isn't it? Because we're only 6-8 weeks away from November 1 when players come on the market for the 2027 season, and one name we didn't expect to be on that list would be Tom Trbojevic, but looks like he's headed to November 1 where, and I don't know whether you can see this happening in a fantasy world or reality, that other clubs can then come in and make a bid for Tommy Turbo because he's at a contract impasse with the Seagulls. So the story with this is that apparently Tommy had agreed with his management to a deal that's worth between $850 and $900 a year over the next 3 years. So 27, 28, 29. As we had in our Rich 100 over at Code Sports this year, Tommy Trbojevic is on $1.25 million this season. So to go from that down to $850, it's a fair pay cut. So and we know he's missed a bit of game time over the last few years.
About $1.5 million over 3 years, he's taken a pay cut.
So he's been agreed to $850 to $900 a season over the 3 years. And when it's come to the crunch, the revised offers come through, and now it's a 3-year deal worth about $750. So there's a missing $300,000 that the board apparently thought that he wasn't worth, and they've since sent through a revised offer that he is not happy to accept because I don't know if he's overly happy with the way the negotiations have panned out.
So they didn't tell him or anything. They literally just sent through the contract, and it was substantially less than what they initially said. They initially verbally agreed to.
Yeah, so that all indications from the Trbojevic camp were that we're happy with this figure. Let's move ahead. And even as late as Friday, set to accept this 3-year deal. Fast forward 48 hours, hang on, this is not what we looked at, this is not what we agreed to. And the board have come back, rightly or wrongly, and said that let's look at a different option, let's look at this over 3 years. So, and I think it's down to the principle of what was offered as opposed to the money itself, because you'll find a couple of years ago when Tommy had missed a few games, because 11 seasons in first grade, he's managed 20 plus games only in 4 of those years. So a couple of years ago, Tommy actually went and said, can I take a pay cut? But one of those deals where you can't do that. Once you've agreed upon it, the salary cap order is put through, you can't then go back on that and take a pay cut. So he's obviously happy to take less now than what he was currently on to stay there, but there's a little spanner in the works, and mate, as we all know, things are really heating up November 1 because the team called the Perth Bears going to be on the lookout for a big kill. There's a lot of clubs with a fair bit of salary cap to move, so yeah, dangerous game over there at Seagulls.
So I'd love to know the dates of these offers because he was going really well at the end of the year. So like what new information has Manly gotten in the back end of the season, especially when it's going well at the end of the year, to go, you are no longer worth what we agreed to. It's a reduced offer. And then I wonder, there was games played with DC. Is this an intentional game being played to say, oh, we still offered him something, but he didn't take because there's all this drama? Because it's also come out that Tom Trbojevic, at the moment, he's highly unlikely to take this offer, but he will take the initial agreed amount offer. So what I'm not getting is what changed for them in the last 4 weeks or so of the season where they go, you're actually worth less than what we thought you were?
Well, that's it. You hit the nail on the head. He played a pretty solid end of the season when we finally started to see, I think during the middle of the year, we saw a bit Tommy looked a little bit laboured. He didn't look like he was stretching out as much as we thought. And then back in the season, been really good. But there's other guys at the club as well you got to think about with Lehigh Hopewadi and Tolu Kula as to fullback options for them. And maybe Manly are looking at their salary cap as a whole and going, okay, well, what do we need to do here? Because there's been a fair bit of money invested in the three players, Daly Cherry Evans, Tom and Jake Travojevic over the last few years, which I think personally has probably affected their balance of their squad. But now you've had these guys coming through that are really providing good value for money that are probably going to need upgrades. So, but I can't put my finger on why you would do this to a superstar of the club, a local junior, Mona Vale Raiders junior, Manly through and through. And, you know, we thought that Daly Cherry Evans would be a one-club player outside of the Gold Coast Titans potential backflip a few years ago. But, you know, from that should be the lesson in itself that I don't know if things are as rosy as we're led to believe up there at Manly. So I have concerns.
Things don't look rosy at all, do they?
No, look terrible.
Been a nightmare this season.
Terrible. It's an open secret that the playing group essentially don't agree with Seibold's coaching methods. Bizarre. The report that he'll take the initial offer, mate, they've already showed their hand, in my opinion. They've already disrespected you by doing that. To slide in a contract that is 100 grand less without even speaking to someone, that is so disrespectful and rude. And a club junior, and I know people go, oh, hang on a sec, like they've stood by him through all the injuries or whatever. Doesn't mean you can just slide a contract through that you didn't agree to, and I just hope that he signs it and cops it. And also the idea of having Lehigh there or Kula there, mate, then have a clean break. Like this weird, we'll keep you at 750, but we might play you fullback, we might not. Mate, just make the call. Go with these younger guys, put him at fullback, and then you've got $1 million in your cap, or 850 or whatever, to invest in your forwards. It's this weird middle ground they keep playing to try and not look bad. It's just bizarre.
I think as well, like if you're going to play him at centre and you're going to pay him 750 for the amount of games he misses, I'm completely okay with that. That makes total sense. It's the way you went about it, though.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to. Like I'm on record saying I wouldn't even be offering him a 3-year deal because I feel like enough trust should have been built up by now where you just go year on year, see how your body's going. Tom's been very loyal to them. They've been very loyal to him. I don't understand the fact that they feel the need to offer him a 3-year deal when they've still got a whole year to go on this offer.
Yeah, and on top of that, not that it should matter, but I think it does. Like, to treat him that way, like he's got 2 brothers in the fucking squad.
It's bizarre.
What are we doing?
It's so strange. Like, a simple phone call, hey, mate, can you come in? Let's have a chat. Look, we've looking at this offer. It's 850. We've brought it down to 750. Go away, have a think about it. Come back and talk to us. The only thing that makes sense to me is it almost feels like this is intentionally happening to create the idea that they did offer him something that he didn't take it. That's the only thing that makes sense. I can't see anything else that makes sense.
Yeah, but does anyone really believe the narrative that Tom Travojevic is somehow underhanded or less than the good bloke that we know that he is? It just, for a guy that was willing to take unders mid-contract to try and, he understood that he wasn't playing enough games, that his body was letting him down. And we know, geez, we saw a few years ago in his Dally M year that of how great he can be, that, when he's at full flight, he's unbelievable. But, Coola's coming off at the end of 26, Ruben Garrick's off at the end of 26, Jake as well. So they've got to look at where they get with their money there and where they invest in things.
Make the call then, though. I don't get it. Make the call then. This weird middle ground. I don't get it. And also, although he hasn't won a premiership, we all consider him a club legend, I guess, in regards to his name.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're treating a club legend like this. It's strange. I don't understand it. As I said, the only thing that kind of adds up is this an underhanded way of, to the fan, saying we offered him the 750, he didn't take it, he wanted 850. The greedy route. That maybe not going down the greedy route, but that's the only thing that could make sense to me, because even with the DCE situation, it was we did offer him something, we didn't offer him something, we go on live TV, then we offer him something. It's just bizarre. It's so strange.
And it's unimaginable to think that Tom Travojevic would leave Manly, but you just don't know. So his agent, Paul Sutton's going to now go and renegotiate with the club to see what they can do around this. So, look, and if I'm a Manly fan, I'm not petrified at this point, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned at the way that this is playing out. Just that would have me a little worried about, okay, which direction are we heading here as a club?
It's the first time that, Manly fans have been actually going far out. Like, could Tom Trbojevic actually leave the Manly Seagulls? And when I first saw that report of the 2.5 mil, whatever it was, over 3 years, and perfect. Like, that just, it felt like the sweet spot where, like, Tommy at his best, we know he's worth well in excess of $1 million a year, but with all his injuries, probably can't afford to pay him that, and what we've seen in recent years. But 850, it's like you're still getting a bloke who, even if he only does get 20 games a season, but he can fit for finals, he can take you a long way and be, essentially the best player in the NRL. And you even look at that value to their current salary cap. They've had this very top-ended roster for a number of years in paying big money to Tom Trbojevic, Daly Cherry-Evans, Jake Trbojevic, a few others in there. Well, DCE goes, they'd free up, $300K or so a year going down to Jamal Fogarty. Jake Trbojevic, he's not going to be on that million or 900 that he'd been on in recent years. That'll substantially drop in coming years as well. Tom Trbojevic, his drop. They've got to have money to play with somewhere. So, yeah, look, I really do hope he stays, but if there was some sort of underhanded sending the contract through as reported, being 100K less to Tom Trbojevic of all people, like the heart and soul of this club, rubbish.
Very, very strange. Any other big stories this week on Code Sports?
Yeah, well, now that we're getting down to the pointy end of the season, we're starting to look at the clubs who hadn't made it and reasons why, and having a look at some roster rebuilds. So we've gone with a Parramatta one this week to have a look at where this club's at, and looking at things like the loan deals that they've got, because there's a bit to move with Parramatta. They need roster spots. It's not so much a salary cap issue at Parramatta; it's a roster spot issue. But Brendan Hands over in Toulouse at the moment, if they get up to the Super League, he may stay, but he's on a loan deal there. Ryan Madison, another loan deal, but if he comes back, that's 650 on the cap plus another roster spot. So we're going to go club by club and have a look at each one to see where they're at looking at for next season, just to get a bit of a heads around, because November 1's sneaking up fast, and there's going to be clubs that are going to do a little bit of moving and horse trading in the off season. So we've got that one there. I think the Bulldogs will be an interesting one as well, because there was rumours floating around. We were talking about this off air before about there was a Kalen Ponga to the Bulldogs rumour, which got shot down pretty quickly at the club. But even looking at their future, they've got Connor Tracy there playing there. I think you've seen in finals a little bit as well in attack, where Steve Crichton seems to be dropping into that fullback spot a little bit. But they've got a couple of guys coming through. They've signed Cade Dykes from the Sharks. It's a bit of a project. He's had a couple of there's some knee injuries, so there's some concerns there. But Eamon Fitzgibbon, the Dragons, kid, son of Craig Fitzgibbon, good young kid coming through. So
did you get a chance to watch the Kibra Park versus some city?
Yes.
The fullback.
David
some kind of text or whatever. He's going to the Dogs, correct?
Yes.
He looked good.
Peter Sterling medalist, absolute gun.
What was the story? I think it was on Code Sports about a text that he sent through or something like that.
Yeah. So go and have a look at that. He's, it's an amazing story about how he hooked up with the Bulldogs, as to, just as fate would have it. You send out a text message and tic tac with the recruitment guy, and he's they've had their eye on him. They've seen how good he can go. We've talked before about how prolific Kibra Park are. So I think the Bulldogs are making some really good strides in picking out some talent to bring in. So, I know they went out in straight sets this year, but I think come the next couple of years, they're going to be building very nicely. But a couple of nice inside stories there, because it's one of those championships that we stream live over there on our platform. So it's fantastic watching.
Guns. Like, I can't believe they're still in school. You're just like, far out. Absolutely insane. Alrighty, go to codesports.com.au, and we've got a special offer. Use code FINALS, so with an S, FINALS, on Code Sports. Are giving you a subscription for just $1 for the first 3 months. Just $1. There's no better time to join us. We're in the thick of the finals, and the Ashes are just around the corner. The link to this will be in the show notes, guys. This is just for finals. So once finals is over, $1 for 3 months is done. So make sure to sign up. Thanks, Mobsy. Appreciate it, mate.
Cheers, boys. Enjoy your week.
Alrighty, that's Code Story of the Week. Now we've got Team of the Week, brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Get your Grumpy Coffee from grumpycoffee.com.au. Team of the Week is Edwards at fullback, Toto on the wings, Alamotti on the wing. McLean at centre, Ito at centre, Trindle at 6, Cleary at 7, 8 Leota, 9 Brayley, 10 AFB, 11 Preston, 12 Burns, 13 Colhoun, 14 Hines, 15 Young, 16 Yo, and 17 Sasangi. What a weekend of footy it was. I tell you what, just 2 games and that they're going to be entertaining. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. I was playing video games all day long, baby.
What game are you playing?
Borderlands 4.
Yeah,
Borderlands
nice.
4 with the Launtel crew actually, with Andrew.
BL4.
BL4. What? Hey, it works. It works. It works. It works. No, with the Launtel crew, it's good. You know, I try to do. I goes, oh yeah, to the wife. I'm like, yeah, you can sleep in. It's fine. I'll wake up early and take care of the little one and take him on a little walk. But really, it's selfish because I'm just getting that out of the way so that I got my half day done. I get that. I always old soccer coach used to say to me. His name was Philo. He was a Pommy. Always had greasy hair. And he'd always be like, I can't do it. I'll try and do a Pommy accent. Always do the housework first, Kempy. Wait, let me. You sound like you're from London. Okay. Always do the hard work first, Kempy. That's what he used to say. That was better.
Holy crap.
Do the hard work first, mate. And then he would say, look good, feel good, play good. That's what he'd say. Anyway.
Your second impression, like, leaps and bounds. The
Yeah,
improvement from 1 to 2 there was a masterpiece.
I think one was just your voice, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, listen, look, it was hard because just going off nothing, but I've been working on my acting range lately. So as you can see by all of the stuff I'm doing at the moment, just a lot of acting. Den and Day-Lewis, they're calling me. But anyway, a shout out to Launtel. Got a new multi-gig setup where I think the average speed is like 100 megabits. Whereas this is 2 gig of megabits. And that's all thanks to the NBN Co as well, which a lot of people think that internet in Australia is not quick. It is now quick. The NBN Co has been outstanding in putting the infrastructure in. I think there are over 150,000 houses that are eligible to upgrade for free, I'm pretty sure. But make sure to check on that. But it's, make sure to go to Launtel. We've got the link in the show notes. So Launtel, launtel.net.au/partner/bloke. Put in your address, sign up today because you will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. And it's no contracts, no credit cards, and you only pay for what you use. So you can crank it, go really fast, or you can pull it back, go slower. I was playing with the crew. Got a bunch of messages actually of how good their customer service has been. But yeah, I was playing with the crew on the weekend. About 20 hours into Borderlands, 20 hours in. Ghost of Yotai is coming out this weekend. Very excited. Next weekend.
Next weekend, yeah.
Yeah, so excited about that. Only thing is obviously there's an NRL grand final that's just right bang on the weekend so it's frustrating. So I think I'm going to hold off until the Tuesday after so that I can just, let the hair down, Just
How long has it taken you to notch up 20 hours?
Probably like 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks, yeah. 2 weeks of good stuff.
You're just a weekend gamer, or?
Usually, like I get home, I try to do a little bit. I'm just like, got to take care of the kids, they're tired.
How many will you knock up on a weekend once footy season finishes?
Oh, I can't wait, bro. Can you imagine? Because we'll only do Monday, Thursday, and that'll stop pretty soon anyway. Monday, Friday show. Far out. Holy shit.
Dangerous.
So good. Alrighty, let's get into it, shall we? Let's get straight into the... Okay, semi-finals. The Cronulla Sharks defeat the Raiders. 32-12. 32-12. It's hard to I want to give Sharks all their credit because they absolutely deserve it. But at the same time, you've still got to be real about the Raiders going into it. If the Raiders were full strength though, and if they were fresh, I think this would have been a really, really tight game. And I still could have seen Sharks winning it. I think what you're seeing with the Sharkies is this experience slowly building up. And actually before the game, I think some stat came out where Trindle and Hines had just played 50 games together. And it feels like they've been playing together for ages. But on the weekend, that was easily the best combination I've ever seen them play. And so I feel like with the Sharkies, they're almost like right on time in regards to developing each year, getting a little bit better each year, getting a little bit better each year. I thought they were outstanding. And there was that offense in the first half that won them the game. That's what won them the game, was their grit and toughness in defence. There was a post-match interview with Adam Fanua-Blake, and it just said, really interesting phrase of term. Interesting phrase. He said, we had to eat dirt for 25 minutes. And that clearly is something they speak about internally of when you get in these situations, it's shit, but you just get through it, keep pushing, and you'll come out the other side. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant performance from the Sharkies, and I'm stoked for them. I'm absolutely stoked that they're going to be in a prelim. And look, I give them a fair shout against the Storm. Look, I'm going to pick the Storm, spoiler alert, but I give them a fair shot against the Storm.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point you make about the Sharkies and just how they're developing year on year. I mean, if they were to win a comp in a year or two's time, you would look back over the last few years and go, well, they did take that one step each year leading up to it.
A little bit like the Eels getting to a grand final.
Yeah.
Prelim, grand
make
final.
them up. Yeah. I thought the Sharkies were good, as you said, with the halves, mate. Just the balance they had. It's almost like they get out there and decide, okay, you're going to be the chief today. I'm going to be the icing on the cake.
Yep.
And, we were speaking about it for the last 2 years or so, but when they get it right and they're flowing together, fuck, it's good to watch.
Mate, who knew Trindle had such a good kicking game? Like, if you were going down to Canberra, there's no way people would have said Trindle's going to outkick Fogarty. His kicking game was phenomenal. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I knew it was solid, but that good is unbelievable. Seriously. And look, I know, people will still try to say about Hines, like, in the big moments he needs to deliver, but, like, these are two big games that he's delivered. Like, he has delivered in two big games. Now, if you want to speak specifically about, like, a conversion or a drop goal to win the game, yeah, okay, we can have that convo. But, like, if you're going to bag him for not stepping up in big moments, give him his credit when he's done, because he's been outstanding in these. Matter of fact, Hines' form leading into this has helped carry the Sharks into this form as well.
Well, it's now, 2 games in a row they've won as outsiders in finals. Sudden death games. Like, it doesn't mean nothing. Trindle was the guy in the first game, sure, but I thought Hines was tremendous the other night.
He was outstanding, absolutely outstanding. What do you think of the match, Jimmy?
Yeah, look, really disappointing, obviously, from a Raiders perspective to go out in straight sets. But, I mean, on the night, the Sharkies were just way too good for us. And, you could point fingers at a lot of different things. But I think it's one that you boys have already touched on. And it is, they just look more comfortable on the big stage and under the bright lights of finals football. And, we've chatted about it every year when the Sharks has been knocked out of the season. And they've been in and around finals football for a number of years now. And the early years, they were struggling to get a finals win. And then they've built up a couple in recent years. And they just look more comfortable out there on the weekend, and it showed in a Raiders side who, look, we were really good last week, but, more of a rookie Raiders and not a lot of finals experience in the squad, particularly in recent years, that the Broncos game last week, we played really well, but at the end of the day, we had a second chance. There was pressure on, but it wasn't immense. This week, knockout football, do or die, and unfortunately we didn't get up for it. And again, like, credit to the Sharkies, because that first 25, 30 minutes, it didn't look that way, and you're going, some of the errors that the Sharks had in the game, you've gone, okay, no, like, they're buckling under the pressure of finals
They were at
footy.
58% completion rate for the first 30 minutes.
Some of the errors between, like, Kennedy, Katoa, Ramian, and the cold drop, that you just gone, oh my goodness, like, this is the Sharkies that we've come to see a bit in recent years, where they're not getting up 2 weeks in a row. The Raiders were okay to start the game, and they just dug in, as you said, off the back of their defence. We didn't really look like breaking them outside of that Corey Horsburgh try, and then they dug in, and for the next 50 minutes, they didn't panic more than anything.
Yeah.
And the finals experience, I think that was telling, and far too good on the night.
Now, you brought this up mid-year, and we spoke about it quite a lot. But we spoke about, do they have the grit and the mongrel to go another level this year? I think they've kind of proven it this final series. Like, is it the same as a Roosters, flying out of the line, trying to physically dominate? But grit and mongrel comes in many different forms. And on the try line, the amount they defended on the weekend, like, they were at 58% completion rate against a rampaging Raiders side, and they just hung in there. I mean, very Craig Fitzgibbon like, don't get me wrong, he could go toe-to-toe with the best when it comes to aggression, but he was always about the 1%ers, always about the little details. And I think they've answered that question. Do they have the grit and the mongrel? At the very least, I think that, like, if you're going to make a prelim, I think you tick the box of grit and mongrel. There have been some people like, oh, well, they can't win. They can't win the comp from here, and I understand they're not going to be the favourites to win the comp. But I feel like if you're in a prelim, you've got a chance to win the comp. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in the top 4 teams of the season, I know they would be probably 4th favourites, but I still think you've got to give them a chance to be able to win a competition.
I cannot believe we are talking about grit when it comes to the Cronulla Sharks, and Cam McInnes is out and Britt Nicholas playing 30 minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
Like, it is just insane. The moment Cam McInnes went down, I just put the red Sharpie through them.
Yeah.
Thought maybe they can win 1 game, 2, it'll just be too much of a stretch. And when you have a look at how that first 20, 25 minutes of that game played out against the Raiders, like, the Raiders had all the ball, they had all the pressure on them, and the Sharkies just kept showing up. What was that quote from AFB? We had to eat dirt?
Well, multiple players said we had to eat dirt. So it must be an internal thing about, like, we're comfortable in eating dirt. We love that stuff, because it was multiple players that said that exact phrase.
Yeah.
It was super, super interesting. But, like, their back row. So Raiders back row, Hudson Young, Zach Hoskins, Corey Horsburgh versus Billy Burns, Teague Walton, Jesse Colquhoun. Like, and they still, like, I thought their defence, that back row, was phenomenal. Like, they were aggressive in their face. And then we obviously saw the grubber Wilton put in. We saw Billy Burns' try. Like, that's a great thing about footy is that, yes, you can have so much more talent than the other guy, but if you're willing to rip in rugby league, sometimes you can get rewarded so much for it.
And credit when due to Fitzy, because we've been critical at times in the past of almost being a bit too loyal to players and picking and sticking, and at times you need to put a bit more pressure on guys and a bit more accountability when they're not performing. And the Britton Nickera one, boys, you're sitting there going he's the incumbent Kiwi back rower. He's one of the best back rowers in the game. He's been a staple, an 80-minute man for them all season. Comes back from, and apparently he was carrying something slight that happened. You might have been used, we were saying, while he had that 3-game suspension. But 32 minutes this week, he played, I think, mid-20s or even less last week. You're I'm going to stick with Billy Burns. And Billy Burns comes out with, a try that has a massive impact on this game. As you said, mate, defensively as well, both the back rowers. And he changed his team up. He put that accountability on Nicker and said, no, you're not locked into this team. No one is.
So good. And you're right. That's probably a critique a lot of Shark fans have had with Fitzy. Is he too loyal? I mean, and maybe it's, there is also the possibility that Fitzy's also developing as a coach. He's what, 4th year of head coach in the NRL, so still relatively young. But, mate, I thought the difference, and I can't believe I'm saying this about a Raiders-Sharkies game, I thought the difference was the benches. I thought Sharks' bench blew the Raiders out of the water. I really felt Talakai obviously came on. I thought Hazleton when he was on, which is surprising because obviously it's usually the Raiders that come on and do it. But I thought the Sharkies bench was absolutely phenomenal.
I love their bench. Yeah. I think it was Oregon Kofusi that dropped out of it in the lead up to the game, but just the different body shapes they're able to have there, and just how they all just bring their own little thing. And obviously with Britt Nickett there, it makes a huge difference too. Just before we do move on to that Hazleton incident, just credit to the referees for not freaking the fuck out in that moment. I thought they were the amount that we watched it and the fact that he was hurt, I thought they were going to penalise that for all money. I thought that was really well handled.
Yeah, I mean, the only argument is about consistency, but I'm with you, mate. I don't want someone getting sent 10 in the bin for clearly an accident, so obvious. And people try to compare it to the Paddy Carrigan. I went back and watched it. It's not the same as Paddy Carrigan. It's not the same. And people try to say the Carrigan one was just a head clash. I can, or at least me, unless I'm going blind, I can clearly see shoulder to head there.
It's a brutal sport. That shit's going to happen from time to time.
Now, you could argue, was he kind of launching himself? Maybe, but his foot was still on the ground. So it's I'm with you, mate. Although I just want consistency, I don't want a finals game rule from something that is so not intentional. Tim, you'd love to get your thoughts, mate.
Oh, yeah, look, at the risk of getting battered from pillar to post, it's a freaking head clash. It's rugby league. It happens. And I know people saying went in there with intent. It was a head clash. Move on.
And funnily enough, it was actually because Starling is so short, that angle that he hit him at, only Starling could probably hit him at that angle because his head's at that height. In regards to how they played, it's just their grit and determination. I thought that they really looked comfortable in eating dirt. They really looked comfortable on their line in a finals game. No one panicking, no one screaming out of the line. And again, that comes from just backing the boys in each year, getting a little bit better. And you know what I also like about the Sharkies is they're chatting a bit. Even Fitzgibbon in the post-match press conference, he was basically you've got to get the vibe of the interview to get what. But he's like, we're ready. We are ready for the Storm. And you obviously saw Ronaldo coming out and speak. You saw Hines saying they don't get the respect. I tend to agree with them. I don't think they get the respect they deserve. And, it's very easy to say, they don't win premierships. But I'll tell you what, there's 16 other teams at the moment, 16 other teams that don't win premierships. So if you're going to point out the Sharks, I reckon you could look at some other teams as well.
Nico getting a bit lippy was great. Because I was sitting there going, mate, don't put more pressure on yourself than you don't need to. You're a nice guy. You don't need to be the man doing this. And then for him to get a little bit lippy during the week, then come out and then back it up most of all. Despite the loss now, disappointing, I'm so happy for Nico.
Yeah, and look, I know there's a quiet majority that love Nico, but there's a loud minority, mate. Doesn't matter what you say, they don't like you. Not that they don't like you, but they're always going to look for a negative. Like last year, he was quiet, even though Trinder was really good, and even though they got to a prelim, he should have played better. There's always going to be a reason why they aren't going to give you the raps you deserve. This is 2 big games now in a row where he stood up and got the job done, especially in this game, away at Canberra, and they'll always find a reason to... and as I said, I know it's a loud minority, but you're never going to please them. So I reckon, did they answer the question that we had mid-year about grit and mungle? Tick. Did they answer the question in regards to their goal line D? Is it good enough to at least get to a grand final? Tick. Matter of fact, you could make the argument outside of Penrith, they've got the best goal line D at the moment, form-wise, out of all 4 teams, out of the other 3 teams, sorry. So I'd make the argument their goal line defence is better than the Storm and better than the Broncos, form-wise.
And we've said this for a while, and to be fair, it hasn't changed for a fair while, but when you look at their 1 to 17, and particularly like their 1 to 13 defensively, I don't see any holes in the lineup where we go, we're going to attack here or we're going to attack there. And all 4 teams remaining in the competition, they all have clear spots that are going to be targeted. Penrith have one, and it's Blaze Talangi. We'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
The Sharkies, I go, where are teams going to go? Where are they going to see a weakness? Because I don't know if they have one defensive, not a clear one anyway.
Yeah, I guess not a clear one that's like he's a spot. Maybe you could argue sometimes their forwards cannot be that mobile. But yeah, I'm with you, mate. There's not a real, even like Trindle and Hines, they've improved their defence dramatically over the last few years.
It had been in recent years, probably in and around Nico Hines, and he said he's not perfect defensively, but he said he's come on leaps and bounds. I think this year in particular, and you go, all right, they'll have cracks at it, but I'm not confident that oppositions are going to get through there.
Just some interesting numbers that I looked at last week with those halves in defence, right? So Braden Trindle, he made 19 tackles on the weekend. It's the first time this season he's had to make more than 18 tackles.
Wow. Wow.
Nico on the weekend made 30 tackles. It's the 20th game he's made more than 18 tackles.
There you go.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So he just gets targeted all game long.
Just gets targeted constantly. And his tackle efficiency is 10% better than that of Trindle.
Far out. That's crazy.
I love the, we chat about this every week and just the nature of these 2 halves and how they play, and we're trying to work it out. But I love the flexibility of them. We spoke about it on Beers and Break even during the week around Nico Hines and going, all right, the Sharkies are clearly going to go, speaking of weak spots, the Raiders' right edge, which is the Trindle side. And you go, how is Nico going to get involved here? Because Will Kennedy tends to play a lot of his attacking footy down the right edge as well. And they went, all right, that's the edge we're going to go at. Nico started sweeping left and basically playing as a sweeping fullback off Trindle and had effect.
Yeah, it's just... They got a lot of weapons, the Sharkies. Like, they probably don't get the credit they deserve, but they are quite a versatile. They don't have certain players who just stick to sides or whatever. Mate, what a win. What an incredible win for the Sharkies. To go down to Canberra, beat the minor premiers like that, that's such a good win. Such a good win. And speaking of Hines, when you actually look at his stats this year, he has had an outstanding year. Absolutely outstanding year. So, for attack, when it comes to line engaged, he's second only to Katoa. For passing, he is. I have to get it all up. So he's seventh. So he's equal with Daly Cherry Evans. And in regards to sevens, you've got Fogarty at 1, Katoa at 2, and then you've got Hines at 3, equal with Daly Cherry Evans. That's a great knock. In regards to line break assists, he's number 1 in the competition, more than Reece Walsh, more than Tedesco, more than Drinkwater. That's a bloody good knock.
Especially when you consider that, the games that he plays in with the Sharkies, very rarely do both the halves get the stats. It's always one or the other. Yeah. And when it's Trindle, Hines gets sweet FA like last week. Yep. So to have those sort of numbers is crazy.
Yep. And so in a year where mid-year he was getting hammered, like genuinely there were some people saying he should come off the bench. That's how. Whereas he's picked himself up. He's come back. He's been absolutely outstanding. I want to give some chat to some of these other boys. Mate, Billy Burns, Jesse Colquhoun, and Teague Wilton as well. Teague Wilton's obviously a little bit more experienced, but first of all, that try that Teague Wilton scored, that was an outrageous try. That was an outrageous try. On the 5th tackle, to just go, you know what, I'm going to steam full ball and then just grubber it delicately into and it's going to go through people's legs and I'm going to score. It was an outstanding try. Talk about unsung heroes. This back row since coming in has been phenomenal for the Sharkies.
It was a very when you're playing at high school at lunchtime sort of try, wasn't it? Just kick through a heap of legs, find a way. But he's been great this season. I think as well with the Sharkies, as we mentioned, Hazelden, he obviously left after 4 minutes in that game. They rushed Hazelden into that game from his hospital bed. He's an important part of that side. They didn't have it all go their way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the post-match press conference, Fitzy kind of said if Kafusi had had a better preparation, he would have been in the side, I think. So basically, Fitzy said that if Kafusi has the right preparation, he's in our 17 every week. So, funnily enough, Hazelton, he may not have made the side next week, and at least Fitzy will say that Kaufusi is part of the starting 17. But like guys like Colquhoun, I remember when he came in, they thought he was the next guy after Wade Graham, and he played on the edge, and I was just like, I'm just not seeing it, Like, it just doesn't seem like edge is his position, mate. Then they lose Cam McInnes, and they bring Colquhoun in, and I'm with you, mate. When they lost Cam McInnes, they brought Colquhoun, I was like, it's such a drop-off. I just don't know how. Honestly, you could argue they've looked better. Like, and I'm not saying he's a better player, but you could argue as a team, they've looked better with Colquhoun back there.
As a team, I think they've definitely looked better over the last few weeks, yeah.
Just shows you how good he's been. And he's clearly a middle, gets through all the tough stuff, does his job, head down, bum up. Like, he's just outstanding. He's a bit younger, so he's probably going to be a bit fresher as well in the contact and everything. He's absolutely outstanding.
And as well, like, they had other options. Like, you could have played, a Sifa there and just go the power forward game through there. They had
even Pudu as well.
Pudu there. You could have picked him to change it up a little bit there as well. But like I think Fitzy's just gone to Colquhoun and said, I just need you to play tough.
Yep. And he's done exactly that. Billy Burns, he's another guy, played way more NRL games than me, but like for a lot of his career, I've gone, I just don't think you're a first grader. And then to come out and do what he's done since come back into first grade, and it hasn't just been a couple of weeks. Like, he's been a point of difference for them. Scoring tries, every second week at least. He's been a real point of difference to him. And just an unorthodox style of back rower proved me wrong for sure. Like, at the moment, at the very least, like, he is a first grader and he has been outstanding for them.
He played a couple of games at the back end of his Dragon stint at the end of 2023, I think it was, and you could see there was something there. I think
there's always been something.
Something there. I think he gets pretty, like I see comments online about him. He cops a lot of shit, Billy Burns, but fuck, he's certainly proved a lot of people wrong this final series.
And look, I always thought the reason why he's not a first grader is not because he's so bad, just because a lot of the time he doesn't offer enough to be an edge back rower. But now that he is offering that, like I've never watched a Billy Burns game and said, oh, he's terrible. Like, he gets through his work, he does his job. It's just this next level he's gone to, at least recently.
Well, but even in 2025, had been stuck between two absolutely locked 80-minute edge back rowers in Wilton and Nickera.
Yep.
And then due to a timely suspension from a Billy Burns perspective of Nickera gone for 3 weeks end of the season, that's all it took for him to go, no, like, this is my spot, I've won it. Like, for him to continuously get picked over Nickera, that says it all, really.
It's a brave, like, Fitzy, that's such a brave call from Fitzy, like,
huge.
Far out. As you guys said, you're going Nickera, starting back row essentially for the Kiwis, one of your best players essentially, and you're going to go, nah, Billy Burns has been doing a job, and we're in a position now where we've won 7 of the last 8 or 8 of the last 9. They've actually got the best winning record from round 19 onwards. Where Fitzy's got the luxury of saying, no, you've got to earn the jersey back. Doesn't matter whether you're the best in the team or mid-range. And it's forced them all to just play a whole nother level. It really has.
Here's one for you on Billy Burns. He's played 88 games of reserve grade. How many tries do you reckon he scored?
I'll say...
Whatever you're going to say, it's heaps fucking more. I'll give you the hot tip.
I'll say 30.
37.
44. He's going to try every 2 games.
Wow.
That's outstanding for a back row. Far out. Like, even his stats here, so in 2025, he's played 16 games, which, that's flown on the radar. 4 tries, 4 line breaks, 4 line break assists, 8 offloads, 88.5% tackle efficiency, pretty good on the edge there. So, yeah, those boys have been outstanding. Just like, you compare them to the 2 teams that they just, kicked out of the comp, or at least ended their season. Like, they have no right to be playing the way they're playing. Like, you look at the back row that they played against the Roosters. It's essentially an Origin back row. Then you obviously look at the Raiders. Like, it's amazing stuff. Really good.
You sort of made the point last week, Roo, going down there as underdogs, the Sharkies, and not expected by a lot to win. And you said they were sort of playing with house money. They're doing the same against Melbourne. Going down to Melbourne, so they've got nothing to lose. It's all the pressure's on Melbourne.
Yep, absolutely. They're confident. They've got a bit of swagger about him now.
Jeez, he started 11 games this season in the back row for the Sharkies.
Crazy.
Like, he's only played 5 games reserve grade.
Yeah.
That's snuck up on me. I think the other one that deserves a shout, boys, the hooker, Blake Brayley. Obviously, throwing the captaincy a few weeks ago. I would imagine there would have been a moment there where Craig Fitzgibbon would have looked around at his halves and gone, are these maybe the guys? Are these the moments they set up to give it to Blake Brayley, a local junior that's come through there. He's now gone in. Like, I spoke to him, the captain's thing before their first game. He just says how exciting it is to be captain the Sharks in a finals game. He's won 2 finals games. That's
crazy.
61 tackles, missed 1 against the Raiders.
Like, that is unheard of.
If you ever get the chance to see Blake Brayley in person, There's nothing to him.
Nah, it's just all technique. It's
Nothing
like
to him
technique.
at all.
He very Cam Smith-esque in regards to his ability to just put his body in the right position to get through a bunch of work but not be injured. Yeah, mate, their season really did get another shot once Blake Brayley went on this form run. I mean, it's a tough one, but probably Dally M Hooker of the Year, probably.
I think he'll definitely get it. Who's going to get it over? Isn't Harry Grant?
Harry Grant, maybe?
Can't win it. He got suspended.
Oh, he got suspended. Yeah, well,
so
definitely.
I think it will be Blake Brayley. I think he'll shit
So
him.
good on him. And it's great that the club's re-signed him for a longer period of time, till 2030, I think. And just his record with playing game after game. It's like 120 straight, and he got rested in one of those games.
If Harry Grant was available, I think I'd still slightly
I think
back
I'd
him, Blake
just because
Brayley.
like Harry Grant has had some up and down. Like
Yeah.
he's had like a 3-week period where he was unstoppable, whereas Brayley has just been, for at least, I mean, he was solid to start the year, but for at least half the season, or just under half the season, he's been one of the better hookers in the game. I want to talk about Trindle quickly though, because he wins our service of the week because his kicking game, it wasn't the only difference, but it was a big difference. The fact that I didn't think he had this kind of kicking game. And so he's our service of the week, brought to you by Aspley Mazda, guys. Give Lukey a follow, LDC_01. Matter of fact, if you actually go to his Instagram, go to Aspley Mazda Instagram, give him a follow, LDC_01, but go to Aspley Mazda, leave a comment predicting the score for Broncos v Penrith, and you have a chance to win a fully signed Broncos jersey thanks to Alex Glenn. But you've got to be following Lukey. And if you want a car, shoot him a message, LDC_01. So service of the week, proudly brought to you by Aspley Mazda. It's Trindle's kicking game because, so he had 20 kicks and he kicked for 674 metres. And Fogarty had 20 kicks and he kicked for 566. So he kicked for essentially 110 more metres than Fogarty would have been this year at least top 5 kicker in the game. At least top 5. And he's gone down there, Trindle, known for a solid kicking game, not necessarily known for a great kicking game. And, mate, he's kicked him off the park. He was absolutely phenomenal, Trindle. Absolutely phenomenal. And that's what's like, that 50-game Hines and Trindle having played together, that's what's exciting for the Sharkies, because if this is what they can get to at 50 games, what are they going to look like at 100 games? Because I feel like there's so many parts of their game that are really not explored yet. Like the fact that Trindle had this in his back pocket the whole time, when really I saw Trindle more as like an attacking kind of 6-ish kind of player that had a lot of skill set with his ball playing, could get try assists, relatively, not easily, but, he was the tip of the spear kind of guy. But then now you've got a guy that can lead them around the park and kick into corners and that. Like, I feel like they have barely scratched the surface of what they can be as a partnership. So he's our service of the week, the king game. Did you know Trindle had this kind of king game?
Well, I've said for a while that I think Trindle should be the 7. I don't know why they keep messing around. I think he's closer to an out-and-out 7 than what Hines is personally. So I've always liked him there. And you mentioned before, mate, like those stats that Hines has got this year, like Trindle's still, he's still got 12 forced dropouts, 19 try assists, 16 line break assists. Like he's had an enormous season as well.
Yep.
He's only 26 years old.
Yep.
Like
still so young. So many years left.
so much left.
So what's Nico, 29? 30? He's 29 maybe.
Close
So
to it,
definitely
yeah.
at least 4 or 5 years left. It's just super exciting, and I'm stoked for him because what I loved the second half, they come out and he just goes bang, flick pass to Nico. And that was where I was like, oh, the boys are on. Like that was all feel, all vibe. Like obviously they would have called it before, but like I don't think we've seen them connect that well before. Maybe we've seen them connect for sure, like with try assists to each other. But that was a halves pairing that is truly beginning to understand each other's speed of play, ball playing, feel of the ball. Like that was an outstanding try.
the best they've played as a halves combo in the big game.
I think so.
And we've said it before, but like because they've got they're such an untraditional halves pairing in the way that they operate and they're dynamic, and it changes who has the hot hand each week and who's the dominant playmaker, and they're both sweeping both sides of the field. It'd be so hard to coach against because like most halves, near enough what they're going to do. Can you stop them? We'll see, but you don't know how the Sharkies halves are going to play.
Yeah, who's going to have the hot hand? And I'm going to say, like, that's a brave call from Fitzy because it's way harder to have 2 dominant ball players that drop in and out of being the dominant ball player than it is to go, you're the dominant, you're not the dominant, like you're the 6 or whatever. That's the easy way to do it because you don't have to worry about this like balancing act each week. But Fitzy's been brave and he's stuck by it. Like, I'll be honest, midway through the year, I said it many times. I said they need to just make it really clear who's the big dog and who's the six. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. They've nailed it. They've nailed it.
One that I was wrong about too, AFB. I spoke about a year or two ago. We sort of had a conversation here, and I sort of said, I don't think he's in that tier one, because when he goes up against, Fish, Tarpanay, Haas, and there was numbers to back it up. There was relentless numbers to back it up at the time, that he wasn't putting out the same sort of numbers. He wasn't having the same sort of games. But I fucking love this year what AFB's done.
Yep.
And you might look at his stats, 156 metres or whatever it was, which isn't crazy, but he just went toe-to-toe with them. He did the same thing last week. I remember even round 1 in Vegas against the Panthers. Penrith won, but AFB absolutely gave it to them. I think he's really stepped up his game this year.
Yeah. And you could look at stats from past years and go, his stats are better here. But I reckon this year he's played much more unselfishly. Not that he was selfish at the Warriors, but they just expected him, get the ball to AFB. Yeah. He makes all these meters for us. Whereas I feel like he played 67 minutes on the weekend. They said, how long can you stay out there? He said, mate, I'm good to go. I'll stay out there as long as I need to.
Yeah. And with all due respect to AFB, I think in previous years of the Warriors, he would have his enormous games against bottom 8 sides. Now he's doing it against top 8 sides.
Yep.
He's absolutely given to them. He's standing up and he's been the guy for the Sharkies.
And he's a lot of at times he could rely on his attacking prowess to have a good game, whereas some of the defensive stuff he's doing is outstanding as well. Matty, what do you think about this game with the Sharkies and the Raiders?
30 minutes into the game, I was like, wow, the Raiders have responded to last week. Sharks, they basically had zero ball for the first 30 minutes, and then they somehow just defended their asses off. And it's funny, the try they let in was so, not soft, it was just dumb. It was a dumb try they let in. But that's all they let in. To then go 12-6 up at halftime. At halftime, I was with a bunch of mates. We were like, there is no way Sharks are losing this. It was such a mental win for them to be 6-0 down. I remember when they were 6-0 down, I literally said to the boys, I was like, if they're 6-0 down at halftime, I reckon this is a win.
Yes.
This is a huge win for the team.
Yeah.
They were up 12-6. And as soon as they were up 12-6, you were just like, I didn't think they'd run away with it, but you just knew they were going to win after what happened.
Those late 2 tries, was Trindle and Nico in the second half or first half? Maybe it was first half. Apologies, but it was in the back end of the first half. Those late 2 tries broke their heart. I really feel because Raiders really should have gone in 16-0 up, probably. If they had taken all their opportunities. I do. Maybe it was you that said it, Matty. Maybe they saw those 2 tries and just what happened last week, it just overwhelmed them, and they were just fuck, again, surely not. I know it's a very different situation, but when you dominate a half like that, and then you look up at the scoreboard and go, we're down. How did that happen?
I think just off what Matty said too, you look at that game last week, the first 15 minutes of the second half of the Sharkies, the Roosters were just running downhill.
Yeah, dominated.
They just held the fuck on for that period. You look at the Raiders in that first half, I'm sure we'll get to them soon, but I personally, I love the fact that the Raiders didn't take the 2 points. I love that they just went, no, let's get some energy in here, let's score first points. The Sharkies had to get through so much more work, and as we said, they just hold on again. The Sharks side that I saw throughout the season, I don't think they would have held on during both those periods.
No way. And that's why I say form-wise, over a year they haven't been the second best defensive side, but form-wise, I would have them just behind the Panthers in regards to their defence at the moment.
And that old saying that we always talk about from Cam Smith, who you are in the regular season reflects who you are in finals. The Sharkies aren't that at all for me right now. They're the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's just such a good performance. Another guy I want to give a shout out to, bro, what a game. And how good has he been? Essentially, every game he's played this year, maybe -1, he's been one of the best outside backs on the field. He has just been phenomenal. On the weekend, what more is there to say about it? You could argue he's one of the most, not the most, but he's one of the most impactful centres to his team in the comp. Their downfall mid-year coincided exactly when Ito got injured. And they're it was around Brayley's form, but when he came back, they also, got a bit of momentum as well. That's how important he is to this side, and usually centres, you've got a few in the game, Marnie when he was part of the Roosters, I'm sure, Turbo when he's on for the Senate, for Manly Seagulls. But for the Sharkies is arguably just as important.
Especially the guys that came in for him did really well.
Yeah, Roddy was outstanding. Yeah.
But weren't at the same level.
Yeah. What do you reckon of Ito's game, Jimmy?
Yeah, he's unreal, mate. One of the most one of the value centers of the competition because he wouldn't be on a huge wicket. He is about to be because, I mean, we see the attacking stats. I think he's scored 10 tries in 13 or 14 games this season, but just defensively, mate, he's an absolute glue of that edge. He's brilliant. So he's a gun.
What about Talakai? 8 runs, 101 metres, 45 post contact. Far out. That's like, 13, 14 metres a run. Outstanding stuff. So, look, great stuff. Sharkies deserve it. I thought Rudolph's first stint wasn't great, but I thought his second stint was outstanding. Just running with no self-preservation, just running into a brick wall. So look, Sharkies deserve it. What an incredible win, and just the way they went about their business, just so impressive. And even in the first half, it didn't go all their way. As I said, 7 minutes to go, they completed at 58% completion rate. So you're sitting there going, oh my God, it's going to be a blowout. But yeah, it wasn't.
So the other thing, and you'll probably talk about it later in the week or whatever, but just another advantage for the Sharkies going down to Melbourne. I don't think their game plan changes all that much. I think it's that right edge for Melbourne you want to target as well, especially if Hughesy does end up being in there. I think it's a very similar game plan that they'll sort of go into.
I think you'll find Adam Fanua-Blake will be getting short balls on Hughes, similar to what the Broncos were doing with Haas, just short ball on him, just to try to rattle him a little bit with the big boys going at him.
And I think you'll see similar. I'd be trying to get Payne Haas on Blaze in that later game.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Yep. Now on to the Raiders. And as I said earlier in the piece, kind of I'm not taking anything away from the Sharkies. Even if the Raiders were at full strength, everything good to go, there's still a world where Sharkies win. That's how good they played. I just think last week broke their hearts. I really do. I think that was their grand final to a degree. I think that it shows you how important that week off is. Put it this way: if Broncos had what happened to them like the Raiders did, Sharkies probably beat the Broncos as well. That was such an insane game. I just think that for them to back up 6 days later, it was a tall order. It was a tall order, especially if they didn't blow Sharks off out the water in the first 30 minutes or so. I just don't know if they had the legs in them to go, all the way. What do you think, Timmy?
So especially in a team that's just full of players that have no final experience.
Yeah.
We saw that on the weekend.
And I wonder if the Sharks use that as motivation. Just go, look, when they were peppered early for that first 25, 30 minutes, they weren't playing that well. They go, if we can just hang in here and jag one late in the first half, whenever it might be, it'll break him off the back of what happened last week. And it did. And yeah, look, the Raiders, how much of it came down to, what it took out of them last week, I don't know, mentally and physically, but they were pretty ordinary. They look like they're in their shell a little bit. And I understand the need to play high percentage, relatively conservative brand of footy in finals, especially the way the Raiders play, but our attack was just pretty mediocre. We didn't, and it's credit to the Sharkies again in the way they defended, but we didn't throw much at them. We didn't throw much quality shape at them. We scored one good try in the entire game, really, which was the Tamale in the corner. It was a good tunnel ball from Fogarty, but we looked nervous the entire time, and we weren't willing to we looked scared to make mistakes.
I've got to say, and look, I love him as a player, and he's had such a good season, but I thought Fogarty just didn't handle the moment well at all. Defensively, even in attack, you could tell he was so nervous out there. And I think that's his biggest hurdle going forward as a 7 to lead a team around, is we know what he can do in the season, but when these big moments come, he's just got to somehow, push through that hard kind of pressure he puts on himself.
And we've, he's struggled in the pressure moments for us for a while now, and doesn't have a lot of finals experience either. And even last week, there was so much chaos in that Raiders and Broncos game, and so many talking points that I think was overlooked at the fact that the amount of opportunities he had to try and ice the game and didn't even come close, kind of thing, with field goals and a few poor decisions made. And yeah, that was the other thing. The second that news came out of Ethan Strange being out, you just went, all right, they'll probably bring in Ethan Sanders. And then Ricky went down the Simi Sasangi route, who was superb, one of our best players, as it turned out. But what that did do, it just heaped more pressure on Jamal to go, you have to do everything in it in terms of creation and playmaking for us, because look, I probably would have brought Ethan Sanders in just to have another half to take some pressure off him, both kicking, both playmaking. I understand why Ricky did what he did with Sasangi, just have a strong ball running 5'8", and as I said, he was brilliant. That didn't lose us the game, but it just put so much pressure on Jamal.
Yeah, I probably would have gone Sanders, and
so he could have picked Sanders. He was available.
Yeah. and that's not hindsight as well. I would have gone Sanders before it because I'm with you. Like I understand the idea of kind of replacing a ball running 5'8" with a ball running 5'8", and it's not because Sasangi played bad; he played great. But I just think the value of having in a finals game 2 genuine halves, because like Sasangi is just. He's not a half at all, really. Like he's just a great ball.
He was there to run the ball and tackle.
And look, I know that you can find some reserve grade games where he's played 6 or whatever, but I just think that in a finals game, I would just go the conservative route. 2 solid halves that can get you around the park.
And look, if you've got Nathan Cleary at halfback or you've got Daly Evans, you can pick just a big-bodied 5'8" because you know that they can get a team around the park by themselves and be the chief playmakers. But as I said, unfortunately, Jamal under pressure has not come up for us for a while now, and it just put too much pressure on him.
And you could tell, like from the first whistle, like he just didn't look comfortable.
A bit of a red flag for us on Sanders. Like when they didn't, I assume they weren't allowed to pick him.
I don't know. Ricky has always been like a defence first kind of player and coach. And I think in a one-off finals game where he knew how good Sasangi had been this year, he just goes, look, and I think it's a show of faith from Ricky in Fogarty. And look, it probably didn't pay off. But he must have gone, he'll do the job. He'll get us around the park. I know what you're saying. Like, you've invested your future in Ethan Sanders and to the point of you've gotten rid of Jamal Fogarty, you bring him in for a finals game. But I think he's just gone, no, we'll be okay. And I just want the better defensive body in Sasangi.
Do you think it was a protection thing? Like, bringing in Sanders and let's say he has a Barry Crocker, it could smash his confidence. And I just think because Sanders is the guy... supposedly they're going to build a premiership push around. It's a big risk to go, we're going to bring him in for this one game, and you don't want to smash his confidence to pieces. So I just wonder whether Ricky Stewart looked at it going, and look, Ricky is really patient with his young guys. We've seen that before. I wonder whether it was more of a protection for Sanders rather than an ability thing. And I do think the defensive, obviously, as well. So, yeah. In regards to other ones, I'll be honest, I thought the game was... When Hoskins let that try go through, I know a lot of people blame Fogarty for that. He is kind of to blame, but I felt like it was Hosking. That's when the game ended for me. I just thought that is so not Hosking. It's so not the Raiders. It's just not finals footy.
Yeah, I think probably Hosking more at fault, but like it was both. It was just so uncharacteristic from Zach Hosking. He hasn't looked like missing a tackle that I can remember all year like that. And you just went... Where's this come from?
Yeah, just like respectfully, like Billy Burns. It's not like he's the biggest, most explosive player ever, but he just sliced through him like he was nothing. And I just, that's when I realised, like, this isn't the Raiders that we've watched play for the last season. This is a fatigued, battered Raiders just doing their best hanging in there, I think.
The one thing that was the Raiders and the negative side of things that we'd seen from this year, mate, I spoke about it as a concern all year, and it was that, our back three under the high ball, I could see that being a concern come finals time. And, there was the Trindle had that floater that went between Weeks and whichever winger it was, might have been Tamale, and it bounced back for the Iro try. And we'd seen these problems all year. We'd seen our right edge defensive problems all year. Matty Timoko, Jamal Fogarty struggling out there. Like, again, Matty Timoko, a few poor decisions out there, but like that edge got torn to shreds. So there were signs that, probably exposed us on the weekend that we had seen throughout the season.
I think as well, you saw a few rookies, relative rookies, struggle to back up finals footy. I think Kyo Weeks, he had such a big game last week, and that's the difference between great fullbacks and good fullbacks. It's like you got to back it up. It's finals footy. You've got to go again, get your hands on the ball. And I felt like, especially for the first, maybe even like 50 minutes, like he really just didn't engage in the game. And look, I know you could argue, well, that's the halves responsibility to get him in, but like Kyo Weeks, he's got enough reputation that side. I'm sure if he just says, "Give me the ball, I need to make some runs." I thought Tamale looked a little bit better, got through his work, but just some of their other outside backs just didn't seem to be able to step up again after last week's crazy game. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they really did lose this game last week, didn't they? Like, it just, what was it? You won it twice, you didn't win it once, or like just insane. It's
correct, Roo, yes.
Just fucked up.
Thank you.
As I said earlier, though, I did like the way the Raiders went about it at the start. They just kept mounting the pressure on the Sharkies. I know a lot of people sort of go for the 2 points or whatever. I liked the way they just went, no, fuck it, let's just go at it, take them on.
Yep.
One negative, I thought over the last 2 weeks, like he's been tremendous. He'd be in my Kangaroos side, but just some of those little errors from Hudson Young, like the Simi Sasangi try where he stops in the line. Funnily enough, the guy that I always point out, what I love about him so much is Britt Nicoter. He runs the best line in the game, but he also never gets caught in that spot.
Yep.
He always finishes his line. He always goes all the way through. And Hudson Young, he did it on in that play there, which I thought was a huge moment in this game. He did it a few other times throughout the night as well. Just
Mate,
those little things.
He literally did it. We were saying in the green room before, but like that didn't, like, we would have scored anyway. It was the Sasangi try, right?
Yep.
But it was an obstruction and it shouldn't have been a try. Like that, it's so rookie from a back row. And like in the early years when they started calling that, a few years back of the block, and you sort of go, all right, they're not used to it and having to run through the line. There's been way too much time passed now that you have to keep going. I think it was the Tamale try about a set later. Mate, he literally did the exact same thing and stopped in the line. And
Yeah, if someone fell over, they probably would have got the penalty.
something like that, yeah. And like it didn't impact it enough, but he did it again. I'm like, oh, Hutto, like you have to learn from
Yeah,
this.
it's you're a back row. It's your job description.
Yeah.
Realistically, and I think that off the back of that run that he took last week that put Fogarty in a bad field goal, just those little things that in finals footy they come back to bite you.
I think with Hudson Young, he's just got to find the balance between wanting to impact the game because he knows he has that ability, and also just knowing to just get through your work. And so, I mean, he was still, outside of those errors or whatever, he was still outstanding. Like he still impacted the game, tough to tackle, but it's just a matter of, and again, he actually hasn't played that much finals footy himself, so he'll learn over the next couple games that he has in finals footy over the next couple of years, just about that balance between, you have the talent to break a game open, doesn't mean you need to do it on every single play. You've also got, there's the job description, sort that out, and then you can do the big plays later in the game. But yeah, really disappointing. With the Raiders, where do we feel they are at heading into next year? Not because they don't have the roster. The roster's good, but the big question is obviously Sanders. It's a big question. He has to steer this ship next year. Is there any worry that, is there any evidence that he can do that?
Well, there are reports that they want Jonah Pezzett on a loan deal.
Which is bizarre to me. I don't understand that at all because surely don't you want an experienced seven to come to the club? What do you reckon, boys?
Yeah, well, what is he? He's 21. I mean, I've seen people sort of saying, the Raids, they've missed their premiership window and Fogarty leaves and what a big loss he'll be to us. I mean, I don't really buy into that. I'm not saying we're going to go and win a comp next year. I'm not saying we're going to back up and mine a premiership next year, but we've seen with the Sharkies, as I said, we now have a bit of finals experience in a lot of these players, and we are well ahead of schedule in this rebuild, miles ahead. No one expects us to win the minor premiership this year. So I think, yet another year after this into Kaya Weeks and Sanders comes in, and look, it might not happen straight away. We might, maybe we scrap for the top 8 next year, and that's not the end of the world. But as I said, we'll miss Fogarty. He's been great. I bloody wish he was staying for another year or two. But in terms of this premiership window, they're investing in Ethan Sanders, who, like I said, Fogarty wasn't good at the depth for us in either of these 2 finals games. So we'll be okay without him. I don't know how good Sanders is going to be, or if he's got enough runs on the board to suggest that he will come in and kill it, or be the chosen one at 7 for us. But I feel good about us moving forward. And as I said, we don't have to be minor premiers next year. We'll learn a lot from this year, and it's still a tremendous year. But yes, there's a lot of pressure on Sanders.
I will say though, I know it's a disappointing way to bow out. I get, Raiders haters are going to be commenting or whatever, but how far this club has come. Don't let that detract from an outstanding year. Minor premierships by 2 games. It's been an incredible year. You get up against a red-hot Broncos side with one of the greatest performances we've ever seen from Reece Walsh. That essentially, and then also you get a Sharky side that no one's rating. They're flying under the radar. And I know that sounds like excuses, but this is a young side that everyone had, well, not everyone, but a lot of people had for the wooden spoon. What would have happened if they had got Warriors first week, or what I'm saying, or Roosters first week? So I know it sounds like excuses, but I think Raiders fans should still enjoy the season that he's had.
If we lost to the Broncos by 16 points or 20 points, whatever, and then we backed it up with a loss like this to the Sharks, I'd go, all right, that's just an awful ending. But the way that Broncos game played out and what it did to it, like it looked like it broke us for this one, unfortunately. How close we were to beating a really good team in the Broncos in week 1 of finals, and just how, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. As we said last week, they led by 16. They should have closed it out, but honestly, it's been a crazy season. It's been a crazy final series, so don't be too doom and gloom about it.
Just on Sanders, before we move on, I just sort of went through his New South Wales Cup stats for the year. Really interesting. In his first 11 games that he played, he only won 2 of them. He had 6 try assists and only 1 try. In his last 8 games, they won 7 of them. He had 8 try assists and scored 5 tries.
Nice.
Yeah, wow.
So starting to find form.
Yeah, that's good.
Starting to mature at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Another preseason under Ricky's going to get better. And, like, he's just got such a young side too. Like, it's just exciting times at the Raiders. Super exciting times. It's just, I guess it's all about... I guess the tough thing is just you climb up the mountain. You get to the top of it and you're like, oh, man, we have to do that all again. That's a tough thing about starting a season again. Ricky...
Just on that before you move on really quickly, just something I was thinking about. How he said it throughout the year that... There was a quote from Tom Starling during the year just saying how, he's not sleeping at night. He's thinking about what they can do, blah, blah, blah. And funnily enough, see how he said to me all year, he goes, mate, that was me in 2009. I couldn't fucking do anything else. I was just so hyper-focused on this. And funnily enough, the Raiders, the Dragons in 2009 were the last team to win the minor premiership, go out in straight sets.
Yeah.
Literally that exact same thing. The team before that was the 93 Raiders as well when Ricky Stewart got injured. Like, don't see it very often, but it's funny how he said that exact same thing throughout the year. That's what he did in 2009. Got to the end and just completely shit the bed.
Far out. There was a couple of tough calls. Katoa, the head high. I hate that we jump at shadows with his head highs. Like, it's just so strange. Like, on one hand, you let a full-on head, but like a accidental, but like full-on head contact to head. You're like, nah, we're going to be staunch here. We're not going to give a penalty away. And then on the next hand, you're like, you jump into shadows. I thought that was a tough call because then I think Brayley got head high and then they went down and scored whatever. I thought, I know you could look into the fact that Ricky looked fuming, devastated. Look, I want my coach to care that much if I'm a fan of it. I get there was only a minute long and people want to point fingers, but he didn't. He took accountability. He didn't blame anyone else. He just cares. He just cares. I like that from Ricky Stewart. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you want him to say? He finished minor premiers, went out in straight sets and goes into a presser straight after. He's absolutely gutted. It's like, what do you want the bloke to say?
Yeah, you just know the Ricky Stewart haters are going to be like, oh, it's only a minute long.
Honestly.
You're still getting this, that, and the next thing. It's like, mate, he cares. It means something to him.
Poor bloke could nearly be fighting back, would have been fighting back tears trying to get, going, I have to go and talk to this. And I know it's part of the job and you get it, but 100% he cares and he was gutted, any coach should be getting knocked out of the finals. Yeah. And I will say, is it that question of holding on too tight, in regards to, similar-ish to what Jamie Sowell was saying, was did they focus too much on, oh my God, what can we do this year? This might happen, rather than, and this is hindsight speaking. They did everything so well, rather than going, this is who we are now. We'll just go through the processes. It's a fair question from Sal.
And I'm sure that Ricky would have had, a plan around that.
Yeah.
And then you get to finals week 1 and you go through the game of fucking games. And you're just like, well, it sort of all goes out the window to some extent.
And then you train all week. I don't know when Ethan Sanders got crooked, but a key piece of your attack and, could get a Dally M 5'8" of the year award. And then he goes down the day before sick and you have to throw a forward in at 5'8". It was pretty crazy.
It must have been that morning because Sanders was cut from the squad originally.
Well, so he had influenza strain A, which is the same one that I had when I got all fucked up. Yeah, it's the most dangerous one you can have. And I saw some people go, oh, come on, you can't get up for a flu. I promise you can't get out of bed. You cannot, it is...
He was vomiting up blood, apparently.
It is honestly one of the craziest experiences I've ever had. So he could not have played. He could not have played.
She'll send the size of this wasp on the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about bravery.
Wasp game. But anyway, hopefully they can bounce back next year. Very excited to see how they come out next year with all that experience. Alrighty, it's time for the Penrith Panthers defeating the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Their reign of terror, will it ever end? They can't keep getting away with this. My God. They're too good. They're too good. They keep dominating. They just keep going around clapping people's cheeks. And I'm over it, bro. Everyone's cheeks are getting clapped and we can't do anything about it.
You're up this week, buddy.
Shit. They're
Live
too
up,
good,
kid.
bro.
They're coming to Brisbane.
They're too good, bro. They are too good. Like, what else can we say about this freaking side? Like, even midway through the year, idiot me was like, they're done. They can't win it. They can't upskill these young guys quick enough. Now some of these young guys are some of the best in their position in the competition. It's an actual joke how good this team is. Actual joke. And even like last week, I'm like, poor Milky Jenkins. I would have gone with Milky Jenkins in the finals. And Alamotti has literally like the game of his life this week. The game of his life. And that's why he's our hungriest player. And Menulog is giving you a chance to win a trip to Vegas next year for the games. And Menulog are giving you the chance to win a $15,000 trip to a season open next year. You place an order and unlock a game that I played last week. Matty will put up on the screen. It's a fun game. You play the game and then you go into the draw to win the prize. So get on Menulog, place the order, then play the game. Plus each week, they're also giving away hundreds of vouchers. But like Alamotti, you know, Ivan Cleary, once again, nailing the selection. And not to suggest like Milky Jenkins wouldn't have gone well, but like the performance from Alamotti on the weekend was like one of the better performances I've seen from a winger in a long time. That's how good it was. And it just, once again, finals footy rolls around and they are absolutely humming. They are absolutely humming. They're just, we're witnessing the greatest team of all time. It's that simple. Even if they don't make the frigging grand final, I still think they're the greatest team of all time. If they make the grand final, it is their 6th grand final in a row. 6 grand finals in a row. They are, in my opinion right now, favourites to win 5 premierships in a row. Like, I cannot believe we're living through this. Like, we are going to be talking about this for the next 50 years. It is that good.
Yeah, and if they do win their 5th in a row, over the last 15 years, there's only been 2 sides that have won the comp without having the week off. One of them was already the 2021 Panthers. So it means that in that 5, they've won 2 of them without having the week off. And then one other side has done it, that 2015 Cowboys side that just went against everything we know.
And they're winning outside the top 4 as well.
Yeah. So they break that as well. But I also love, you know, before we get into performances and everything, I love the way the Panthers have done their theme for this final series with the jersey and I think it's never before, and they've got the V in like gold as in a 5. It's fucking just the storylines they do. They've nailed it every year. I think they've done it again. I love the way that they've done that jersey and lent into it for finals. I think it's really smart.
And they've earned it. Like when you run out in the field, you should be looking across going, oh shit, like that's a gold jersey, that's 4 premierships. They are the big dogs. It's just amazing. Like I cannot believe what we are witnessing. These guys are just, they're so much better than everyone else. It's insane. Timmy?
Yeah, like a month ago we sat there and went, all right, Penrith are going to miss the 4. There are no real standout teams. The comp's wide open. Maybe this year we'll see a different grand final that'll like break up the regular Panthers, Broncos, Storm, etc. And then like it could be a Raiders in the grand final, the Warriors, the Bulldogs. And then all of a sudden, gone. And Penrith in cruise control just going, are they just going to walk through to another premiership? Because it's kind of looking that way.
Kind of looking that way. And what's crazy is like, they showed that you can be one of the best teams in the comp and you are still a universe away from a premiership. And I say that respectfully, the Dogs, how far they've come, but they've just gotten shown on the weekend. They are a universe away from a premiership right now. I understand they were missing a couple of players. Critter, obviously their captain, really important, and Montoya. But bro, like, it shouldn't have been that much of a difference.
And look, like people sit there and, you know, throw stones at the Doggies and how, you know, say how poor they were yesterday and whatnot. And look, they didn't obviously put up a great performance, but what Penrith came out and did, and we'll get into the details soon.
27 from 27.
27 from 27 with Nathan Cleary steering the ship. Like, they beat every team in the NRL by a similar margin yesterday.
Yeah. They were just clinical.
You can't be that critical of the Dogs because Penrith were just, you know, 3 classes above.
And like Isaiah Yeo, I felt like his ball playing is the best it's been in years on the weekend. Like digging all the way into the line, stripping the team of numbers. Like, we're just witnessing the greatest ever team that's ever been put together. Like, I know that you can go back to the 11 in a row from St. George or other teams, but like, bro, the game wasn't open to anywhere near as many players the game is open to now. There wasn't as much money into it. Like, it's just not the same. And there was no salary cap as well.
The 11 in a row was unlimited tackles. It wasn't even the same fucking sport. Like, it's not even close with this Penrith side. And we had a conversation in our group chat yesterday about Nathan Cleary in finals. Like, it's shut the gate. I think he's the best finals player we've ever seen.
It has to be. Like, he has been in... There's a very good chance he's going to be in 6 grand finals in a row. This will never happen again. Like, I mean, maybe it will, but like, we are so used to it that when we say, oh, yeah, Panthers might win 5 in a row, we're not we're not sitting here pulling our hair out going, I can't believe this is happening. But that's the world that they've created where it is almost an expectation from the NRL community that they are going to win 5 in a row.
Of all the unbelievable teams that have come through in the NRL era since 1998, and you know, you look at when the Roosters won that second grand final, went back to back. That was the first time a team did it since 92, 93 with the Broncos. And like that took all that time. They just got there and you went, oh my God, someone has finally done it and gone back to back. Penrith could do it 5 times.
And they lost the first one.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking insane. Like you even, like I, without turning it, you know, straight on to Nath Cleary, who we just spoke about briefly, like you go back to that grand final that he lost. He was a 21-year-old that threw an intercept that cost him the game.
Should have destroyed him.
No one even fucking talks about it. No one remembers it.
No, it's just crazy. It's honestly insane what they are doing. Like, think of some of the stack sides that have played in the NRL in the last 20 years, like or last 25 years or so. The big three at Melbourne, you know, teams with like Israel and GI and Cam Smith and Billy Slater and then you've got the early 2000 Broncos. It was essentially a rep side going out there. You've got the Roosters. Like some of these sides on paper, you could argue have been more stacked than the Penrith Panthers. And yet this Penrith Panthers are blowing them out of the water. Like even the Melbourne Storm, with how good they've been, haven't gone back to back. The Melbourne Storm. Like, it's just, I cannot believe what's happening.
It's been great this year on the podcast with Penrith because we've actually had something to talk about. Like the last 4 or so years, it's like we get to Penrith, they win, so we've got nothing to add. And then this year, because they came from last after round 12 and they had some issues and some concerns, we're back to the point, it's like, oh, I've got nothing to say. They're just the best.
They're just goated.
They're perfect.
What's crazy as well is like, I remember at the start of the year, someone asked me, I think it was at SEN or something, they go, like you're back in Penrith to be there or thereabouts at the end of the year. And I said, they could win 1 game from their first 10 and I would still say that they can win the premiership. And then we got to round 12 and I just let the hype get to me. Like I just said, nah, they can't do it. They can't do it. And how wrong I was. Far out. I just cannot believe what we're witnessing. I really can't.
And, you know, you need things to go your way to win comps. Like, they're full strength. No one's missing. Everyone's there. You've got Liam Martin, who's under a bit of a cloud this week. Like, I think Liam Martin, a bus could have hit him as he walked out of that stadium. He'll still run out next week. And you had Casey McLean, who finished the game early. Outside of that, this is 1-17.
And you know what else, Roo? They had the mass resting in round 26, so they had essentially a bye not that long ago. The last 2 weeks, they've done it pretty comfortably. Like, it hasn't taken, like, it's not a Broncos Raiders type game where neither of the last 2 weeks would have taken a lot out of them. Said bugger all injuries. A little McLean concern there, but as it stands, it's just all shaping up to be Penrith.
And as Timmy said before, you know, we had all these storylines, Raiders, Warriors, all unbelievable. It looks like the favourite is a Penrith-Melbourne grand final. And hot tip, watch the Jersey Fleet this weekend. It's Penrith versus Melbourne again.
Jesus, what is happening? Will this reign of terror ever end? It's every year, bro. It's every year. I'm starting to feel like what New South Wales feel like.
No, you don't.
Oh, sorry.
You don't even know, mate.
Oh, okay. Well, it's 5 in a row, like.
5 in a row would have been bliss. 5 in a row would have been great. That's a holiday.
Oh, and also they're going up against a Broncos side without Paddy Carrigan. Like, and you know, Ezra will come back in, but he hasn't played for 6 weeks. Reynolds hasn't played for 6 weeks.
Are we expecting Ezra to play?
I think Ezra will come back in. As soon as they said Ezra and Selwyn are done for the year, I knew they were coming back in. Because why would you say that unless you're trying to misdirect headlines from it? And I just think the Broncos were like, let's say they're gone for the year, so we're going to have headlines constantly. Are they back? Are they not back? I reckon he'll be back.
Selwyn played 80 on the weekend as well for winning Manly.
It's just so, yeah, we'll get to them during the week. But Brisbane, like, great players coming back, but you're just changing everything that's working. You're shuffling all the deck chairs in the biggest moment of the season.
Oh, Billy Walters also out. Forgot to.
And, you know, Penrith, I posted on socials the other day, like, they got to win a game at Suncorp, then at a core. They've won grand finals at both. They slapped you in Magic Round a Sunday afternoon a few months ago. Like, they're not, I just don't think they'd be scared of it at all.
Mate, they're so used to big games that you can guarantee that they will complete their first 20 sets. Like, every big game they go into now, they will complete their first 20 sets. Whereas, like, we've seen multiple teams this week or in this final series come out, they can't complete their first 5 sets. Like, the Penrith Panthers go in and just go, no, we will complete 20 sets out of 20. And by the time they get to that 20th set, the team's suffocated. It's over.
Yeah. And even like when you look at that first try they scored, the ball bounced twice. No one panicked at any point.
Just mental. Just honestly, like, it's just greatness. We're witnessing absolute greatness. The KO can't miss moment for me, we always talk about his attack and his runs out of his own end, but it was To'o's defence. That double defend he did on Connor Tracy, where basically 9 times out of 10, the winger bites there. And also, he bites, and it's not his fault because the centre didn't get there. And granted, they didn't have that much room to work with. It's still hard to double defend on the wing like that. So early in the game, he doubles defends, he takes the player out, and then later in the game, he's got the same situation, but instead of double defending, he intercepts and sets up a try. Like, the weapons in this guy's arsenal are just never ending. Like, he is truly just rounding out his game. For me personally, I think he's the greatest ever winger to play the game. And it was good to see the defensive side of what he does. Because very rarely do you watch a game and you go, oh, geez, To'o's jammed in there when he didn't need to. Or he slid when he didn't need to. Yeah, maybe once or twice, but that's only going to happen as a winger because the defensive decisions are so hard to make. That was look, then you could talk about the 40-20 from... This was a play from Nathan Cleary on the weekend. Just get up. So it was 7 minutes into the second half. So they're up 36-8, 7 minutes into the second half. Bulldogs get a line break down their right side. They kick the ball, chip the ball back inside. There's 4 Panthers players there. No, essentially maybe one Doggies fan, but there's 4 Panthers players there. Cleary catches it. He passes it to Alamotti. In that same set, Cleary then kicks a 40-20. So all in a space of a set, he's taken, we're on the back foot, they could open this half really well, to we are now going to probably score off a 40-20. This is greatness. Like, it is greatness. They're 36-8 up, and they're still chasing back like that. And on top of that, now that you didn't ice that opportunity, we are going to ice you.
And that sequence you just pointed out, like, if I'm completely honest, I'm not even impressed.
It's natural for them.
I know, this is what they do. This is what happens. This is how they go about their work. They're just on another level. It's crazy. Like, mate, I thought Isaac Tungo, the hands that he showed on the weekend, unbelievable.
Him and McLean.
Crazy.
Like,
bro,
they made those tries look so easy for the wingers, but the hands of McLean and Tungo, unreal.
Casey McLean played in a Jersey Flag trial last year. Like, it's just, he's now, it's crazy.
He's now form-wise, he's in that top echelon of centres, form-wise.
Even the first, 8 to 10 weeks, we were sitting there going, he doesn't have the passing game, he's got glue in his hands. And I was like, no, just took about, 3 months to develop.
Just honestly amazing. So here's, I think, after the first half. So they were 20 from 20. They had 102 runs compared to the Bulldogs' 64. 958 metres compared to the Bulldogs' 545. 266 post-contact compared to the Bulldogs' 138. 6 line breaks to Bulldogs' 1. 35 tackle breaks to the Bulldogs' 10. Their average set distance was 47 metres compared to 38, so nearly 10 metres per set. Kick return metres, 163 compared to 95. But here's the kicker. 3.29 second play the balls. That's origin pace play the balls. And the Bulldogs were 3.5 seconds. That is just if you ever wanted to look at stats and how you choke a team out, that's it. That's it right there.
I look at the Brian To'o, his second try, and they were perfect completion to this point and just had the foot on the throat. And it started in the middle of the field, went through about 3 or 4 different sets of hands. And I compare it to when I mentioned with the Raiders how with their backline movements, they just they were going through the motions. Everything was a bit slow and tedious and not really doing much. That To'o second try, and there was a few of them to be fair, but this one in particular, every ball play went deep into the line. Every lead runner had everything timed perfectly. The passing out the back was perfect. A player wasn't too deep. They weren't too flat. Every single person in that movement was exactly where they should have been. They didn't stand a chance, the Pro Doggies.
Yeah. Seriously, their ability, they're just more skillful than most teams. Their ball playing, their passing, it's just more well drilled, a higher skill level or skill ceiling as well. It's amazing to watch. It's truly amazing. Like in the first half, the Dogs had missed 42 tackles compared to 9 for the Panthers. 42 to 9. And I know it's not the only stat. We always talk about not all missed tackles are the same. But Jesus, it's not that good. 42 to 9 is crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. 35 tackle breaks compared to the Dogs' 10.
Which, once again, this is the best defensive team in the comp, Canterbury.
Bro, seriously, like I cannot believe what we just witnessed. I really can't. I really, really can't. In regards to some of these individual performances, we've got to talk about Alamotti. As I said, like I would have kept Jenkins. How wrong I was. Once again, Ivan Cleary absolutely nailing a selection. And as I said, like Jenkins would sort of come in and played well. I don't think there's any doubt of that. But just Alamotti, whatever he's just gone, I'm seeing something that I know when finals footy comes around, he is just going to go to a whole nother level. He's done exactly that. So this was combined, the stats of the wingers. They combined for 502 metres, 5 tries, 2 try assists, 7 line breaks, and 21 tackle breaks, the wingers.
I'd love to know if Ivan Cleary, knew all along that come finals time he was going to pick Alamotti, or if he genuinely wasn't sure. Like, Tommy Jenkins didn't miss a beat since coming into first grade. And Alamotti spent a fair bit of time in New South Wales Cup and was 18th man and couldn't get a start. But then, a couple of games at the back end of the year, it's like, no, let's change that over. And, it's a blessing to have, of riches, to have this many great options. But, do you reckon he knew the whole time, Ivan, when it comes to finals time, Alamotti's going to be in there, or do you reckon he generally didn't know?
It seems premeditated because he came in for week 1 of the finals. So it seems like he knew that this is a reaction he would get out of Alamotti.
He played the 2 weeks before because Toto was rested. And from what we've seen and what the pecking order was earlier, in those 2 games, it flipped that Alamotti comes finals. I wonder if he knew the whole time.
I think part of it was that he knew then he could play Brian To'o on the left side to be with Casey. I think a lot of it had to do with combinations. I think with Alamotti as well. Remember when we went to Vegas at the start of the year, I had it on pretty good authority that Alamotti was told shouldn't play in this game. But because they had a few other injuries and Brian To'o was carrying things, Ivan made the decision, no, I need him out there. So if you go back and watch that, he had this massive cast on his right arm. He could only sort of use one half of his body. Ivan's always been a huge fan of him and always relied on him in those big moments. So, when it came down to the crunch, it didn't surprise me all that much. I think he was very hard done by Jenkins, no denying that. But once again, I don't think Jenkins could have done what Alamotti did there.
I've got to say, it just shows you that certain coaches bring the best out of certain players. Alamotti couldn't get re-signed. They did not want to re-sign him at the Bulldogs when they were at the bottom of the table. Goes to the Panthers. And what's strange about this one for me is that he's clearly not afraid of hard work. Because I think the implication that he kind of felt when Bulldogs didn't re-sign Alamotti is that he didn't fit in with the new plans of Ciraldo coming in. Then he goes to the Panthers and mate, he's been phenomenal for the Panthers. Phenomenal.
And I think when you have a look at, I don't have the list in front of me, but, from that team that Canterbury let all the players go, I would probably argue Alamotti's one of the few they've got wrong.
Yeah,
haven't got many wrong.
Guys, realistically,
haven't got many wrong.
And and to Paul Alamotti's credit, I was talking about a heap. He came through, was going to be a fucking prodigy at Canterbury. It was unbelievable. Then sort of struggled when he got into first grade. Mate, when he signed with Penrith, I'd heard from multiple people that they were looking at him as like a Spencer Leniu type. Just bring off the bench as impact and be a jersey 17. So. And it wasn't that long ago he arrived at Penrith. We're only 2 years later.
Well, I tell you, and you guys already know this, but for the audience, guess how old he is? 21 years old. He's 21, bro. Far out. That's just... they have a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 19-year-old, and Toto, who's 26 or something like that. Their backline could be together for a decade. Yeah, obviously, a salary cap will pull them apart, but...
And as soon as, they bring him in, which means they, move Toto, he's not you've got your 2 centres who haven't played with those wingers all year. The 2 centres had 6 line break assists between them and didn't miss an assignment.
It's honestly crazy. So that's our KO can't miss. It's Toto's defence. It's Cleary's unbelievable moment in time. It's also Alamotti's performances. So we've got 2 huge prelims, guys. Storm v the Sharks and then Broncos v Penrith Sunday Arvo. Watch NRL Finals Week 3 live with no ad breaks during play on KO. It's the second week of finals in the NRLW with Roosters taking on the Sharks and the Broncos taking on Newcastle. Watch every NRLW game live and ad break free during play on Fox League. And the Ryder Cup returns this weekend as Team USA face Team Europe in golf's fiercest rivalry. Watch every match day of the Ryder Cup. Live and exclusive on Fox Sports, and MotoGP roars into Japan this weekend as the world's best riders take on Motegi, where precision meets power on one of the sport's toughest circuits. Watch every MotoGP qualifying, practice and race live and ad break free from lights out to checkered flag. And I will be at Bathurst too, so I cannot wait. I'm going there with KO. Footy Man does Bathurst. I don't know much about the V8 cars, but I'll come on the journey with me, guys. Come on the journey with me of learning about the crazy cars that go around Bathurst each year. I think it's the biggest race in Australia, isn't it, Bathurst? Or Easy 500.
Yeah.
A mile.
Okay, Bathurst.
Have you been there?
No, I've never been to Bathurst before. I'm excited.
Cool.
Yeah. So keen as. Okay, in regards to some other performances, I glaze him all the time, but Leota, once again, he has a job to do. He doesn't waver from that job. He does it 10 out of 10 every single week. He lays a platform, he wins the battle, he finds his front, and he has good line speed. He is just, there were questions, and I think both have kind of answered. Like Fish has instilled a lot of culture into the Warriors, and when they've needed to fight, they really have. But there were questions like, if you lose Fish, what's Leota going to be like? Mate, he stepped up. He has stepped up this year.
I think Leota might be your favourite player, not in a Broncos jersey.
Hands
Mate,
down.
I love him.
He's come on leaps and bounds this year.
Well, I just think that they had Leota and Fish there, and they're the greatest ever pairing. You look at the stats, no one comes close in their stats. But Leota, he's still the main big dog in this pack. Like, he's still the main big dog in the pack. They're about to go for 5 in a row, and he's been there for essentially all of them. I just don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I think even now, after everything he's done, he still doesn't get the credit.
Yep, very fair.
We need to talk about him a bit more, just to make sure he gets the recognition that he
Exactly.
deserves.
I'm all for that, mate. So a lot of other big shows, they don't talk about guys like Leota, but he needs to be talked about. He's the guy in the middle, laying all the platforms for everything. Nathan Cleary, looking fresh as anything. Like getting to finals footy, and he just goes to a whole other level. Like, he looks as fresh as he's ever looked. He looks in control. He looks confident. What do you say?
I was about to say, what do you say? Yeah, like it's September. This is what he does.
Yo looks great again. Papali'i, another guy, gets to the club. I'm glad they're using through the middle, because I've always felt he suits their system more through the middle. Since moving him into the middle, he has been outstanding in them, so good. He comes on, and sometimes he is the best forward on the field when he comes on. He was outstanding again on the weekend.
Yeah, it was huge last week. Enormous, as we said last week, that if he keeps playing the way he is, he might turn out to be buy of the year just for what he's done come September time.
That forward rotation, Fish is no longer there. They've got to find a way to fill it somehow, some way. And he's been great off the bench, so good. And he played 13 when Yo was out as well. Mate, I think Papali'i's been outstanding.
Well, he's so versatile, isn't he? He was a Dally M back row of the year, I think potentially 2 years in a row at the Eels. He can play as a starting prop. He can play as a 13 with a bit of ball playing about him as well. He's very versatile.
Yeah. Kenny showing his importance. Literally in the first offensive set they got, he was snapping blokes. And it's just showing how important he is to that side. He comes back in and they just click immediately. They just click immediately.
He had 102 touches, Mitch Kenny, 101 passes.
Far out. Just off the deck.
His job.
Yep, off the deck. Most unselfish player in the NRL, in my opinion. Just never, ever makes it about himself. Always makes it about the team. But yeah, just an incredible performance. Performance.
Their one and only weakness that I can see is Blaze Slungy defensively.
And McLean at times too. Yeah. Just that edge kind of gets I think it's been 4 or 5 line breaks in 2 weeks, and they've all been on Talangi and McLean less, but Talangi.
He went through a small period there where he sort of got the defence in order a little bit after struggling at times early in the year, but mate, Preston was having a field day on him. And the same thing happened last week. He was exposed a few times against the Warriors as well, and in this entire squad, it's about the only weakness I can see, but mate, it's a potentially big one. Reece Walsh will target that and could have a field day.
And if Ezra's playing too, he'll be going at it.
It brings in, outside of the 2023 grand final, this could be the most important game of Jordan Ricky's career, because if they're going to penetrate Penrith somewhere, it's going to be through that, and it's going to be through their back rower and Jordan Ricky. He needs to have the game of his life.
And will Shibasaki? It will be Stags.
Oh, God. Ricky and Stags, it's enormous for them.
There'll be a lot of those just bringing Katoni under to try and isolate him one-on-one with him, because good luck.
It's a huge game.
As you mentioned, the Blaze situation, I think it's, over the last 6 years, I think it's the biggest weakness they've had out there.
Yeah.
Realistically.
What I will say is, even though he's got a lot to work on, I just love that it's not his bravery he needs to work on. He puts his body in front. He does his best. It's just some of the reads and that he needs to kind of sort out. But, I mean, look, the Panthers will be aware of this. I think we've all been aware of it. I think the Panthers look at it like he's a part of the crew now. Like he's a part of the brothers now. We need to make up for that. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to be able to go, okay, he's learning his trade, so we need to pick up the slack in certain things that he, might be a bit, new to him kind of thing. So, yeah, probably the only real weakness, to be honest. Outside of that, they are looking red hot. They're my favourites at the moment to win the premiership. I just would be very surprised that they're going to go into either the Broncos or the grand final and not play finals footy. Whereas these other teams, like the Broncos could come out and complete at 60%. That could happen. Now, are Broncos at their best? Can they go toe-to-toe with Penrith? I believe they can. If Broncos can put together 80 minutes of the best footy of the year, they can go toe-to-toe. I wouldn't guarantee a win, but they can go toe-to-toe. But there is a big but. They haven't managed to go back-to-back really great games this year so far.
Yeah, I'm nervous for you. Fuck, I'm nervous for you. But I mean, it's unfortunate from a Brisbane point of view. Like, if it ends up being the other way and it's Penrith v Melbourne this weekend.
Yeah, you get one of them out.
You get one of them out and they have to play a grand final to get into a grand final.
You'd almost would have wanted Penrith to... Oh, but then you could have got knocked out early. I was going to say make the top four. But, yeah, so it's going to be a cracking game. Paddy Carrigan's a huge, huge loss. And look, the Subdog comeback of the week. It's the Penrith Panthers. Like, it's almost been forgotten in the noise, but these blokes were last, round 12. They were last. And now they are premiership favourites in my mind. That's why it is the comeback of the week. Because Subway, they're bringing back the iconic Subdog after its massive success in 2022 and 2024. The Subdog is back in Australia and New Zealand. Gets better though. Subway are not just bringing back the Subdog, but they're bringing back a full Subdog range, introducing the two brand new fully loaded flavour packed builds, the barbecue bacon loaded Subdog and the Mexican loaded Subdog. But guys, it's for an extremely limited time. Do not miss this opportunity to get into Subway as soon as you can. Try these new loaded Subdogs. Now, I've got to ask you boys, speaking of comebacks, if they win this premiership, is it the best win out of the lot?
I think it probably is, yeah. To come from last after they've been through what they've been through over the last few seasons, I don't know how you could push back on it not being the best one.
And like we talked about, like losing the heart of the team in your Fishers, in your Luais, Critter as well. The year before, was it the year before at the same time? Year before, anyway, wigging out. Is it the greatest win that they've had?
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah,
like coming last from 12th, and then on top of that, losing players over Origin, having to rest players for that must-win game across the ditch in New Zealand, and then they went back that up with the win against the Doggies, who were top of the table, to keep their season alive with key players out from off-season, and then to do it from outside the four, first team to do that, has to be.
It's just all the little things like, if you play 4 games, you can't win it. If you win it, if you're outside the 4, you can't win it. They've got those. So that is a challenge enough for teams trying to win their first premiership. They have that, plus they've already won 4 in a row. Like it is, is there any mathematicians out there? The chances of this is like, it would be impossible. What do you reckon, matey? Will this be their best win? The best Subdog comeback?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think the Broncos won, not just because of the game, just because the 3 in a row, the three-peat was something we hadn't seen before. I don't know what it was about last year. The three-peat seemed better than the 4-peat, but I think this one, just because of the circumstances, will take the cake. Yep.
Look, I had the barbecue bacon loaded on the weekend. Absolutely outstanding. Get in there. Massive thank you to Subway for supporting the platform. So make sure to get it. Support people that support us, guys. But what else is there to say? We're just looking at greatness. The greatest team ever assembled. It's just amazing to watch. Ivan Cleary. I guess, when do you start saying greatest coach of all time?
Yeah, he's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah. He's already in my conversation for sure. But when do you start saying the greatest coach of all time?
I mean, there's also the argument, he got the Warriors, the closest they've ever come to a premiership. What he's done at Penrith, he arrived there. They weren't a top 8 team. He managed to turn them into that. He's delivered time and time again. He's been through, the downs and the ups as far as losing a grand final, getting them back there. Like you look at the last, outside of Craig Bellamy, the last 4 coaches to make a grand final and lose haven't made finals next year. And he just gets them up time and time again. I think it'll be interesting. Like, if they do win this comp this year, I understand it's 5 in a row, but at least it was, they were last. They only got a long way around. Like, fuck, imagine if the next few years they're just back to normal scheduling where they're in the top 4 and it's just them. Like, at least this year there was some sort of entertainment, so there's a bit of mystery to it.
Yeah, but I think what really works in his favour this year is you saw in real time him upskill rookies. Like, they were nowhere near ready for first grade. Within 10 weeks, he got them playing unbelievably. You saw it in real time.
So much so that now in Jenkins, rookies that weren't ready then are now, and he's not picking them.
Mate, it's just Jenkins was playing local league. And then he was one of the better wingers of the comp when he was playing. It's just, yeah, I guess the only knock against Cleary is because he's doing it at the one club. And I think that's the one area that Wayne gets a bit of a tick because he went away from the Broncos. He got the premiership there. But 5 in a row, bro, like, it's hard not to say he's the greatest coach of all time when you look at that because he didn't walk into a star-studded side at the Penrith Panthers. Like, they had one Origin player in Nathan Cleary. Maloney had just moved on. They'd gotten rid of all their Origin players. He built this side. Like, Yo wasn't even a 13 at this point, I don't think. Leota, Fish might have been an edge-back rower. You know, like, he built this team.
But Fish was a lunatic.
Yeah.
You couldn't trust him at that point.
So,
you know, then you had James Tamu, you had Mansell, the two most experienced guys. Thanks for coming.
well, what else can he do to be considered the greatest? Like, is 5 premierships, 6 grand finals not enough? Like, does he have to go somewhere else and do it to prove? You know what I'm saying?
Well, does Craig Bellamy have to? Like, it's the same sort of argument realistically. Granted, Belly's done it with, like, you know, different school. Like, I think if Bellamy wins it with this crop, once the big three's completely gone, that changes the conversation for him a little bit. But I just think the 5 in a row. How can you, or 4 in a row, maybe 5? How can you not?
Mental.
How can it not be respected?
Yeah, mental. Okay, let's get into it. The doggies. Jeez. What a tough year to review for the doggies because they have come so far as a club, so far. And I tend to focus more on that than the performances that they've put on in these last 2 games. And I will say, look at the Sharkies and how they've developed each year. And I think that, you know, they'd shown so much in the year that maybe we all got a bit ahead of ourselves. And sometimes it just takes, you know, for example, the Penrith Panthers are really the only team that went from outside of the 8 to unbeatable. Very rarely does that happen. And so, although it's really disappointing for the doggies, and although you could like pinpoint certain things and say this was the right call, this was the wrong call, they've still come so far. I will say that whether you agree or disagree with the Marnie, the Sexton, all the stuff that happened, the Galvin in the halves, the question we all had midway through the year at the start of the year was, do they have the roster to take that next step in finals footy? And I think that they've proven at this stage they do not.
And that's the thing, right? Like, just, again, don't be too doomsday about the way their season's finished up because at the end of the day, when you look at that roster, you go, is that going to win a premiership? Yeah, well, probably not, especially with so many new combinations and players coming together. And you talk about them not getting up for finals football. They got up against the Melbourne Storm last week and they put in a fantastic performance away from home against a side littered with superstars.
And the premiership favourites at that stage.
Yeah, with big game experience. So they got up for that. They didn't get the points, but they came bloody close to it. And then we were literally just coming off the back of that conversation about Penrith being the best team ever and potentially Ivan being the best coach ever, who put in a near-perfect performance. Like, yes, it was disappointing to go out in straight sets, but again, this side is building for a premiership in a couple of years' time and they can take a hell of a lot from this season.
Yeah. It's crazy, like, when you have a look at their last few years. Like, if you go back to 2023, they finished 15th.
Yeah.
Next year they finished 6th, and this year they finished 3rd.
Yeah, it's crazy improvement. Crazy. And
like it's insane. It shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, it very rarely does happen. And also, like, you know, people want to... And look, I've been critical of some of the decisions Serralo's makes. So I'm not sitting here saying, like, he's perfect. But he's squeezing every drop of potential out of these guys. Like, Curran had 10 on his back on the weekend. Curran's an edge back rower, maybe a 13. And don't get me wrong, Curran has the heart of a front rower. He rips and tears. He does his best. But like guys like Max King, like he bounced around clubs, and these guys, he is squeezing every bit of talent he possibly can. What's it going to be like when he does build that, you know, 5 or 6 Origin players, and very similar to what the Penrith Panthers did, where they built the squad up from the ground up. And so I just think that, yes, it is super disappointing, but whether you landed on agreeing with Galvin and Marnie, or whether you landed on agreeing with, you know, they don't have the stars to go to the next level, I think they kind of shown that they don't have the stars. They play really good in-season footy. The only other question I have that kind of, I guess, muddies the water a little bit is they did fade a little bit last year. And I wonder with their style of footy, with their current roster, because it is so fitness-based, it's so high energy, are they fatiguing as well as they don't have necessarily the roster yet to take that next step?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a mixture of both. Like, it is such a high-energy footy team. Like, they can't afford to be a slower footy team because they don't have the players to do that. And so I wonder whether it's a mixture of both. Like, yeah, they need to bring players in. I guess I will talk about some individual performances, but the Lockie Galvin situation, he did play well in attack in the second half, but it seemed like he played better when he was playing Galvin footy, not the structured stuff. And so I just wonder, and look, he's going to have a full preseason on his belt, so he's going to get better at it, but it is going to be interesting, like, him trying to fit into that Bulldogs system of footy. Because when they started playing fuck it footy, that's when he started playing relatively good footy. He started here or there, but he put some points on or whatever. But when he tries to play structured footy, it just doesn't seem to click for him. Now, granted, he hasn't had a preseason, so that'll come in leaps and bounds over the preseason. But there is that question.
But even like with the preseason coming, which is going to be my next question for all of you, that preseason, do you spend it with Galvin at halfback, or does Mitch Woods play in Vegas? Like, we're talking about, and I say the same thing. Preseason would be great for him. Do you spend that preseason with him playing his better position at 5'8", or do you have him fucking around at halfback still and trying to make that work? And then when Woods comes in, it'll change completely anyway.
I reckon rip the Band-Aid off.
I'm starting to lean towards that as well. Woods, he's 21, is he, Timber?
So he's not that young, you know.
He's 19.
Oh, shit.
19.
Okay.
So he'll be 20 next year, though.
20
Not,
next year.
yeah, he's 20 in May.
I reckon just rip the Band-Aid off because he's not a 7, Galvin. He's absolutely not a 7. And look, I know I was calling for Sexton to come in and Marnie come in. They didn't do much better themselves. Granted, like, you know, they have no combination with Galvin because he's barely played any. You know, Marnie's been out for 6 weeks playing. You know, but that didn't work either. Like, you know, so.
And you look at Galvin in that game, and again, the masses of critics he's got out there for whatever reason you want to choose to have around how it's all unveiled and played out this year. That game against his unbelievable Penrith outfit, him and Jacob Preston were the only ones who threatened all game. And he didn't just do it once or twice. He directly set up 2 tries. He had a major hand in the third one, and then he scored one himself, one where he was the one who created the line break for Preston as well. Like, I know there was an ordinary pass went over the sideline. There were a few little defensive lapses, but again, this is a 20-year-old thrown in the deep end, as we sort of agree on, probably out of position playing as the 7. The signs there that a 20-year-old can go and do this to the Penrith Panthers on the big stage, and near perfect Penrith Panthers as well, it's got to excite you in a lot of ways.
Well, it's just, and that's where I'm like, when they leaned into the chaotic footy, because he does look chaotic at times, Galvin. It's high energy, it's all over the place, but it seemed to really work for him. It clicked for him, you're right. Like, players go their whole careers not having good finals game against teams like Penrith and Storm. Now, granted, in the first half he was quiet, relatively quiet, and yes, he had some misses in defence or whatever, but to essentially have 3 involvements in tries against the Penrith Panthers, like, that's not bad. It's not bad.
It's unreal.
So, and also, like, you know, I'd probably say he outplayed Talangi in this game if you're looking at just numbers matchup. So
I think you look at it and you go, whether it's next year with Woods or the year after, I don't know enough about how quickly he's developing or if he'll be ready for round 1 next year. But if Mitch Woods comes in and he plays as this sort of a bit more structured number 7 and looks after getting them around the park and the 5th tackle options and all of that, you let Galvin play 5'8", you let him roam both sides of the field, I think they can combine perfectly. Now, it might not be next year, but pretty soon.
Is it a waste of development year for Galvin, though, to put him at 7 and, like, I feel like it's
That's what I sort of lean
it's like a
towards.
waste of a whole
And then
season.
I think you're going to get to, you know, round 15, 20, whatever, whenever everyone to bring in Mitch Woods, and then you're going to have to do that transition again. Like, why not just lean into the preseason and do it there?
Burton looks great at centre, to be honest. Like, I like Burton at centre. Like, he's good at 6'2", don't get me wrong. Like, but is he creating as much, I guess, try assists and that at 6? Like, I don't. I mean, I know he can, but a full preseason at 6, put Burton in the centres, Critter either at. I do think, like, you know, and this is one I probably got wrong because I felt like with Galvin there, maybe that spine is good enough to push. I think Connor Tracy, like, maybe he was fatigued towards the end of the year, but they probably He either needs to go to a whole new level next year, or they need to consider putting Critter potentially back there, or someone.
Tom Trbojevic.
Kalen Ponga?
Ponga. Imagine if you had one of those two to this
bro.
team. Oh.
Just on the halves before we move them on, if you don't want to play Mitch Woods to start the season, are you better off playing Burton at halfback? He's slightly older. He's more mature. I get it. Doesn't really suit him, but doesn't suit Galvin either. Galvin's played game 38 or something on the weekend. He's still finding his way in first grade. Burton, experienced leader, he's played in grand finals, won a comp. I just find it bizarre how much pressure we're heaping on Galvin.
When the guys are in. Yeah, look, me personally, I just ripped the Band-Aid off. Depending on what Mitch Wood's mentality's like, if he's quite a strong mind, because he was 18th man this year. So it's not like he's that far away from first grade. And I just think that if the plan is, and they've been saying this from the get-go, the plan is long-term dynasty. That's what they want. So the more games you can get with them playing together in NRL, the better. We look at the Trindle-Hines situation, they're really starting to click after 50 games. It's taken them 50 games. And I just wonder, are you wasting a year with Galvin at 7? Because he's just not a 7. He's just not, in my opinion. He's a good, really good 6. And also, it's other little things just Hayward, you need him to build connections with his 6 and 7, and you need the fullback to build connections and the centres. So I think, obviously, you see how they go in the preseason. If you're looking like, okay, he's a bit too young, it's probably, you don't want to ruin him long term. Obviously, you don't put him in there, but mate, if he shows promise, I reckon you just rip the Band-Aid off, and this is a plan going forward.
Does Vegas matter at all to you? As far as debuting him all the way over there? And
not really. Because who are they playing? The Knights? No,
I think they're the Dragons.
Dragons? Nah, I think he'd be right. If he was playing I don't know, Penrith or something like that, I'd consider it. But
it is one thing I do like going into next season for Canterbury. As much as I like Sexton and Reid, I think it's for the best they're gone.
Oh, it just confuses things.
Yeah, there's no conversation there. There's no headlines about who's it going to be. You know who the guys are going to be. And I looking through the rest of their squad, they don't really have any other halves there. There's rumours that Sean O'Sullivan's going to land there. If it's SOS or Mitch Woods, I just rip the Band-Aid off.
I think, and this is hindsight speaking, because I would have had Marnie in there, I would have had Sexton in there weeks ago. But hindsight, after that game, I'm kind of they're up shit creek without a paddle because they haven't played any rugby league together. And then they're just going to click. So I'm not critical of Ciraldo for that because I would have done it myself. But I reckon with hindsight, it's in such a big game to shake it up again that much, probably. I know they had injuries or whatever, but, surely there's a young centre they can get coming through and put him in the centres. And now, I will say in the post-match press conference, I get why Ciraldo does it because he's protecting his boys. But it was basically very high praise of Hayward and Galvin. And as I said, I understand why he does it. It does come off. It's quite obvious what's happening though. He's made this decision and he's trying to really massage the decision, I guess, with the fans and everything like that. So, but the thing is this. He had a little bit of, not too much of a bite, but a little bit of a bite about all the opinions about the squad. And it's almost as if to say it was unwarranted. And that's where I kind of disagree with Ciraldo, where I'm I feel like it's pretty warranted. Not because they're crazy decisions, but just because you're at top of the table. I really, and you move in Galvin, that's not a 7 into 7. These are big decisions at a big club that's improving out of sight. So I actually do think the questions are warranted. Now, some of the hyperbolic stuff and the insulting stuff, obviously that's ridiculous, but I do think the questions are warranted.
Well, I think around that squad structure for the week and the changing combinations, I think it just comes back to me that they picked the best team that they thought could get them through the preliminary final on the weekend and beat Penrith. And that's fine, but when Stephen Crichton was ruled out, take away the leadership and the impact of that, but when you lose a centre in your team and as a result of that, you're 5'8", and a key leader in your team has to move to centre, and then a half comes into the squad and your halfback goes to 5'8". There was a hooker change as well, not as a result of the Crichton thing, but then on top of it, one of the best defensive centres and best defensive edges in the NRL, in Bronson Sherry on the left, he has to swap sides as well. You then have two completely new combinations on both sides of the field that have been defensively both quite sound this year. It's a lot of movement because your centre gets ruled out.
Yeah. And they do have good outside backs. Wilson's a good solid outside back. Surely you could, I'm assuming anyway. What do you think, mate, of the Bulldogs, Matty?
It was tough, wasn't it? Because especially like you look before the game and Belmore's pumping. Yeah. They're all out the front of those the hotel they stayed in. They walked into the footage was amazing. It's so
fans deserve massive credit
for sure, and it's so good that the Bulldogs have put themselves in a position where they're playing finals footy. Because 2 years ago, obviously they weren't there, but the Bulldogs, the fans, they could be the loudest in the comp, and it's so good. So that's why it was obviously disappointing to see them lose, but to see them, pretty much the game was done at halftime. And that was the bad thing. Apparently, it just deflated the whole stadium, which was kind of disappointing. And I know they're none from 3 in finals games, and I know there's a lot of questions to be answered. But they would have taken they would have taken where they're at now this time 2 years ago. And I know some saying they sabotaged their season halfway through. I don't know. They put Sexton in yesterday. I know you talked about it already. They put Marnie in, and nothing really changed. There's a lot more problems than just that. But they're moving in the right direction. I think they, not only that they're moving in the right direction, but they got up there so quickly that it kind of looks like a fail, but I don't think it is.
I mean, again, we always talk about it. Finals footy experience is a different beast. Even the Panthers got outdone by a finals footy experience in that first year. That was just all experience in the big games. Cam Smith had all the experience in the world. Some positives, guys. Jacob Preston, what a knock from that bloke. To get as dominated as they did and Jacob Preston to tear them apart, that very rarely happens. Very rarely do you see an individual do that to the Penrith Panthers. I know they still got dominated. Mate, he was absolutely phenomenal. So he had a try assist. He had 13 runs for 160 metres. He had 13 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 41 tackles, only 2 misses on the edge there. He was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to say, he just picked out Blaze and whatnot, but that first try set up, he went straight through Scott Sorensen on that play too. So, yeah, such a good story for him over the last years. We don't, we talk about it every few weeks on the show, but to come from where he's come from and how important he is to the Canterbury Bulldogs, you have certain players over time that just feel like Bulldogs. He's one of them for me.
He was exceptional. The tackle bar stats say it all. 13 runs, 13 tackle bars. He absolutely shredded them. And you talk about big game experience, and you look at the Kangaroo squad getting selected at the end of the year for England. You look at the Blues next year. The selectors only need to go, all right, how's he going big games? Penrith Panthers, week 2 finals, elimination game, and he single-handedly essentially tore him to shreds.
And they dominated the Bulldogs. It wasn't like he had all this, good ball or whatever. He was just so good. And who knows? So you look at the Australian squad with Preston. So you have Liam Martin on one edge if he's available. Actually, is it Liam Martin that needs a shoulder reconstruction, or is it someone else? I think there's someone that is... Oh, no, it's Hughes is not going to be available. Yeah, he needs a shoulder reconstruction. So you got Liam Martin on one edge. Who would be the other edge? Angus Crichton, probably?
Probably Angus Crichton.
Or Huddy.
Oh, yeah, Hudson Young. So he might not scrape into it, but I wouldn't be mad if he scrapes into it. Granted, if I pick my Aussie side, it'd be like 60 people going across.
Yeah. I've got a deep squad.
Yeah, deep as anything.
The way I'm going at the moment.
But look, I wouldn't be mad at it because I just think he's been so solid all year.
Yeah, but I reckon if we were to all name our 25-man squad now, I reckon at least 6 or 7 of them will pull out. The season's just too long.
It's way too long.
Surgeries.
And I know that people say that it shouldn't matter or whatever, but there were reports they're getting paid $13,000.
It's outrageous. So yeah, if they want to take, if those reports are true, essentially they want to take their families.
They have to pay
to go on the trip.
Paying to go on the trip.
Yeah.
Just because you want to be the season is so long. You're so committed to the sport. This is not like back in the day where you could roll into training from 7 o'clock till 3 o'clock and then you get to go home and chill. These guys get in there at 7 and they leave at night. It's a full-on full-time job, and I get it. Other people do that too, but they don't also work on the weekends as well. If you work 7 till 7 each day and then also you work on the weekends, there isn't much time to spend with family. The season ends, it's been such a long season, then you want us to go away for 4 weeks and we're not going to have our families paid for to go there. Granted, I understand it's a privilege to wear the jersey. I get it, but there's also reality as well. There's also reality. I guess what we'll see with the Sharky. The
13,000 for an entire series is ridiculous.
So what's it for? Essentially 4 weeks.
Yep.
You take tax into it, you're looking at about $7,000. $7,000 that they'll get for that.
It's ridiculous.
Is it for the series, not per game?
I think it's for the series.
Pretty sure they'll walk away with about $7,000. Like, we're talking about the best players in the country of $1 billion game.
And like, it's not a Mickey Mouse comp. It's the Ashes. It's
Freaking
like
Ashes.
it should be the pinnacle.
Bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Okay, anything else, guys, on the Bulldogs?
Nah, all good, mate, I think.
Look, as I said, just want to reiterate, still a good year for me for the Doggies. This is all part of the journey. You know, go look at the Sharkies. Look how far they've come. You know, you can go to a bunch of different sides where they just build and build. Go look at the Eels and look how you know, each year they got better and they got into a grand final. You know, this is a natural progress, especially when you look at the roster. It's not like he walked into this crazy roster and he, you know, flicked his fingers and it's good. Like, it's a roster that he's had to build from ground up.
Out of their like best 17, is it Reid and Sexton that are leaving? Is that it for next year?
Maybe Fafita as well, for Saluka Fafita maybe.
Yeah, I think Curtis Morin's
gone to the Titans. Yep,
So they add Leo Thompson.
which is a huge get.
Huge.
I think.
yeah.
I think a lot of people saying, "Oh, you know, at the Knights he's quiet." I just think in that system at the Bulldogs with that training, I think he's going to be unbelievable. They've still got some money in the cap to bring another big dog in.
You think so?
Like, surely. Okay. That is that game done and dusted.
Chamis reporting Turbo heavily weighing up 2-year deal for Warrington.
Fuck that.
Don't.
What are we doing?
Go to another NRL side, bruh. Like, I understand the loyalty, I do, but at the same time, like, they've disrespected you. Like, don't rob Australia of seeing your greatness for another 2 years. You know. I mean, I respect it. Loyalty is dead in today's game. I really do respect it. We always talk about old school traditional values, and he's showing it, but it's like.
Also, the club that you've given everything to, and you're a superstar. I get the price reduction with the injuries, but $750K for Tom Trbojevic, like, to keep, you know, the number one son at your club for $750, just do it.
And the way, but also like
give him his $850.
the way they went about it though, like,
Yeah, but it's the bet
That's the key.
made now.
Bro, mate, just stay in the NRL, please.
Yeah, it's
go to a club that can win a premiership.
The contract's going to be worth less than the Manly deal, though.
But it's all about principle though. Like, the Warrington one, yeah, because I can't afford it. Well, again, it just shows you what a man of principle Trbojevic is. He's going, it's not about the money for me. And I know he's got paid a lot over the last few years. It's about the fact these guys try to underhandedly, and that's why I just wonder, I know I'm Mr. Conspiracy, tinfoil hat on, but I just wonder whether this was done intentionally to push him out while saying we did offer him something.
if you're Perth, right, and you want to sign Turbo, let's say it's $1 million contract. The one clause is I don't play against Manly. You do it?
It just depends. Like, I need him playing more than I need him fit.
For sure. But that's the gamble you're taking.
Yeah.
If I'm Perth, I'm giving Turbo $1 million. Hey, mate, if you, the tough one is finals. Like, if you haven't come against me in regular season, good. You'll need a week off anyway. It's Tom Trbojevic. But you get him week one of finals or whatever. And this is grand finals. So Tom's up. I told you I'm not playing against Manly.
Imagine that.
Like, if he's fit, like if he's fit and he's going to play most games, like 20 plus, I'd give it to him.
If you're Perth,
mate, you're
money
desperate
to play with, you 100% you give Tom Trbojevic $1 million.
You're so desperate. Like, they are going to struggle to build a roster. Like, they're going to struggle to get 30 people across there, I reckon.
And also, imagine how many people will watch Perth because Tom Trbojevic there. Like, worth every cent.
If you're Canterbury for next season, I won't play Manly though. Do you do it or not?
Yep.
Yeah,
Because Manly aren't going to be in the finals.
Manly aren't going to be there in finals?
But even if they are, like, just fake an injury or whatever, no one has to know about it, you know, little tweak.
I can see him at the Dogs. I can see him
at
Gus
the Dogs.
Gould getting on the blower to him and just going, mate, we're building here. Like, you haven't won a premiership. We're building towards a premiership. No one would disagree with that. You're the final piece of the puzzle. I can see it happening.
And you could get him on probably 600 or something because he's already willing to, like, take unders to go somewhere else because he feels disrespected.
Oh,
Could you imagine if they got him and Tino?
shit.
Hasn't the Tino chat
Quieting down. Oh, man, I reckon. Look, maybe Josh Hannay he's going to bring him back around, but I just reckon Storm. I know I've got no evidence for it. I just reckon Storm. Okay, any big news? Rays report the incident. Thought on the Pezzett situation. I don't understand this for the life of me because you're basically just recruiting 2 rookies. Like, I know it's good for pressure on positions, but I feel like they need an experienced. And also, isn't it? It's just a loan deal. Apparently, South rejected it a couple of weeks ago. What do you reckon, boys?
Yeah, if I'm Canberra, I think I'd just be backing in Sanders. Once again, if you can maybe get Pizzetta on a long-term sort of thing, sure. But as far as the loan deal goes, back what you've got in there. You've proven that you can make it work with what you've had over the last few years. So, yeah, I'd lean towards Sanders.
Yeah, what they're talking about a 1 year loan or something.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you get them in and you pin them against each other and say, boys, fight for the spot. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the confident approach more. Like, as long as you can trust that they're not going to be lazy, I'd rather back my 7 all the way in. Say, you're the man. I got your back. I trust. Like that I feel is going to build more confidence than. I know we got you down here and essentially promised you a few things. Oh, but by the way, Pettit's going to come and you're going to have to fight for the jersey. Like,
I'm probably more looking at it as like we need some halves depth. I don't know what Adam Cook is doing, who's probably the backup at the moment, but like we're going to need some sort of depth in the halves, whichever way that is. I don't know.
How do you get Pezzett to the club then though? Because like I'd rather play Resies in Melbourne than Raiders. You know.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't know.
Brumo's reportedly informed Titans that he does not want to spend preseason at centre. His preference is reportedly Swine at fullback. I think we all kind of already knew that. Adam O'Brien signed with Manly. Willie Peters tipped to be Seabold's successor. Bro, Manly. What do you mean successor? What do you mean, bro? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? As if he's like won 3 premierships and he's too old to keep coaching. What the fuck is going on at that club? It's so strange. Like, just sack him. If you're already looking at successes, just get rid of him then. What are we talking about here? Like, and this when I see stuff like this, I feel for Seabold because I'm like, how are you supposed to coach a joint when this shit's getting reported? Your successor, the last successor you had was Michael Ennis. He's not at the club anymore.
Just keeping the seat warm for Willie Peters.
What's doing? So I feel sorry for Seabold here because it's like, guys, you're chopping me at my ankles. You're chopping me legs down.
You said that, like Willie Peters tipped to be Seabold's success. Like, where's that come from?
It's just in an article.
It's just an article.
Odd thing to say.
So bizarre. Like, that's what you say to Wayne Bennett. Like,
yeah.
Mate, so strange. Adakar, interested in playing for Kangaroos. Snyder, fine, not suspended for Cannibal. That's crazy. So I know we keep going back into it, but you're telling me the Nico Hines is worth 2 weeks and that Schneider one's worth just a fine? What?
Yeah. Cannibals, they do need to like they've tried to outlaw them. Like, they're so much damage.
And into his knee, like it was in, like he literally straight into his knee. Look, I'm okay with it, but where's the consistency?
Like, the difference between a hip drop and that is, like, cannibals are so avoidable. You know what you're doing going into it. I'm not saying Schneider tried to hurt him. Of course he didn't, but you can make that conscious decision not to do it. A hip drop happens in the split second of a moment. Like, it's an unconscious thing the way it plays out.
So strange. Anyway, alrighty, that's us done and dusted. Give the great Rue a follow. Give Timmy a follow, SC Playbook. Go to the link in the show notes, guys. Lontel, make sure to get the best into no credit card, no contracts. They've got multi-gig, so you make sure you crank it up. You can download things so quick. You've never experienced it. And it's all thanks to NBN Co. They've sorted the internet out, guys, now, so you will absolutely love it. And also, don't forget, go to grumpycoffee.com.au, grab your grumpy coffee.
Now, I know you're petrified of your matchup.
Oh, no.
Bright lights
sorry.
have got to you once again.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it if you'd show up.
I'll read him out. I got him in front of me.
Okay.
All right, so we'll get, same as usual, the result and try scorer.
I'd just like to note as well, Rue doesn't have a team.
All right, Melbourne versus the Sharks on Friday night. Melbourne $1.45. Sharks $2.76. The line is 7.5.
That's crazy. So the Sharkies have won 5 from 5. The Storm have won 3 from 5. I'm going to go.
Sharkies are 8 from 9, and the one was a random one they lost against the Dragons.
I'll go Storm minus 7.5.
Oof. Yeah. I'm going to be down there for this one, Kempy. Very excited.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take Melbourne minus 7.5, and they'll cover that as well.
Copycat from Ballyrat.
Storm 1-12.
I'll go Sharks for the start. Now try scorer from that game.
Coates.
He's good in the air, isn't he? Yeah, I'll go Coates as well, actually.
You're a dog. Okay, let me tell you what's happening right now. He knows that I have to go Broncos, and he's copying me.
Hey, he's just good in the air. He's an
That's
aerialist.
fucking... See, I told you, underhanded, dirty tactics, this dog. Absolute dog stuff. Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff.
Others would
I
call
can
it,
believe it.
others would call it smart face the music.
Oh, fucking give him a kiss next time. Jesus Christ.
KL Iro.
I'll go Ronaldo Multalo. Broncos, Panthers. Broncos 210.
Dog act.
Broncos 210. Penrith $1.74. The line's 1.5.
For what it's worth, Kempy, if I were you, I'd just be putting the heat straight back on him and tipping Penrith and say, all right, mate, ball's in your court.
It's called loyalty, mate. I don't
All right.
Yeah,
I'm trying to help you, mate.
because if it's the exact same, then you'll advance because you're
Yep.
ranked higher.
Nah, I'm going to loyalty, boys. I'm not going to let the game... I'm going to go Broncos head-to-head.
I'll go Penrith head-to-head.
Shock.
It's so good from you. I'm going...
Dog stuff.
I'm going
Fucking mutt stuff. Absolute mutt canine.
Panthers head-to-head.
Panthers head-to-head for me too. Try scorer.
I'll go... Oh, we don't know who's going to be there. I'll just say Dean Mariner.
Great minds. Yeah, I'll take Dan Mariner.
You're a grub. You're a grub.
That's so good from you.
So
bro.
rank. My boys will come through. And then it's going to feel so good because they'll come through for me. I come through for them. I drank toilet water. My boys will come through for me.
Get Tony Staggs.
I'll go Jordan Ricky. And we're done.
We are done. Just a shit way to go. Shit way to go. I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.